Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to Town Hall Heroes episode number 80. I'm your host, Solid Jake, and tonight we're talking about the PTR, the newest hero, Medic, of course, EU Regionals, and we'll be sitting down and having a nice chat with our friends from Complexity. And as I unmute everyone, excellent. Let us introduce them. So,
hey.
Just going down the line, Blinks, welcome to the show. Your first time with us, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Damn.
No. He's been on before.
He wasn't Complexity, was he?
I've been on before?
Nope. 99%.
No.
I think you didn't do your. I think you didn't do your research, buddy.
No.
I'll figure this out.
Anyway, my name's Blinks. I have never been on this show before. I play support for Team Complexity. It's my first time meeting Jake, Corey, and Jared, and David. Nice to meet you guys. And I'm looking forward to a pretty good show.
Excellent. Hans, what about you? What have you been up to, my friend?
This is actually my 14th time on the show.
Wow.
I'm a veteran. That's about it.
Kubus Maximus.
Hey, let's see. Nothing too crazy has been happening over the past weekend. Sort of the calm immediately after the Americas Championship we talked about in good depth last week. But PTR's been out, so we've been playing that, or at least crammed as much of that in as possible over the yesterday, I guess, since it's been out. I'm really excited to talk about it, especially because of all the Warrior changes. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Mr. Zoloff.
Yeah, about the same. Jake was gracious enough yesterday to let me play Medic once, so that was a really great experience for me. But yeah, it's been nice. We've been, like, since we moved into the house, we've not had a break, right? We've just been constantly playing in tournaments every weekend. But we had a week off. A lot of the players went home. It was just a nice, relaxing week. I think our last player, Zuna, gets home tomorrow. So it's just been a really nice break from, like, heroes. I know a lot of the team just didn't even touch the game. They're just like, you know what? Let's just clear our heads before we go into BlizzCon, get a nice little bit of a relaxment in our lives, and it was great. It was really needed, and I think going into our BlizzCon training regime, we're going to be 150% ready for the Koreans and the Chinese.
Is relaxment a word?
It is now.
I nailed that, man.
Relaxment. I like it. Well done, Jared. On my end, yeah, it's just been a lot of PTR. I went up to Vermont this past weekend for 2 nights with my fiance, where we just, climbed some mountains up there, went to a bunch of breweries, and ate some delicious cheese at a cheese factory. We're pretty much old people, right? All these things we're doing, there's like 70-year-old couples with us, and it's just like us there at this cheese factory, watching them make cheese, taking pictures. There's this old dude, he's like served in World War I, and he's been around, and he's taking pictures as well. It's fun though. We like to do that kind of stuff, and of course, I enjoy delicious beer, so going to the breweries.
You yelled at me the other day for calling you old on your stream.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah, now you're making fun.
And now you're just like basically confirming that you are 37 years old.
37. That's so. Wow, that's so nice. You to
Flattered,
say I was that young.
But,
Yeah.
but he had chaperones.
And
Chaperones.
I also get to bust out the passport. Something I've only used once in my life. I'm flying to Europe tomorrow because I'm doing the commentary at Prague this weekend. So it's gonna be it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a different experience traveling globally, but we'll talk a lot more about that later in the show because we're going to do a full comprehensive discussion on EU regionals and predictions. But before we get to all of our topics, we do have a bit of a statement that we do have to make. And Jared, I know you wanted to handle it, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, we want to take a minute and address a few things before we get started with today's show. Town Hall Heroes will be using the format that you all see in here today, the 3 hosts and the 2 guests. We wish Kevin all the best moving forward with any projects and casting opportunities he chooses to pursue. We want him to succeed in wherever he wants to go with Heroes. So we'd all like to thank him here for the time he put into the show and everything he's done for us.
Yeah. Big thanks to Kev. He's done a lot with us in the past, but we like the ability to do this kind of stuff with 2 pros, Blinks and Hans, to be able to pick their brains, multi-pros, and we're about to do that. So moving on into it, Complexity as a team, you guys have been around for quite a while, and you guys have had your ups and downs. But I have to say, you guys looked phenomenal when it came to
Well
Vegas.
met.
We just got well meted, boys. I need to disable that. Anyways, so let's just go back to the start of the team. We're stepping way deep into history. When the squad was formed, and the squad now, how much has changed, and what have been like the learning what has the learning process been like, just growing a team?
So when the squad formed, I don't know if you guys know how we formed, but basically we met on ladder. Back then there was no Hero League, there were no custom games even. You just like queued for quick match and you played against whoever. And the 5 of us, the original roster, met on ladder, and we were playing against teams like SMG, which is now Tempo Storm, and Glorious Gaming, which was another good team back then, and teams like 2Arc, and we were doing pretty well against them. So we're like, if we can do well at video games against these teams, maybe we should actually start trying to play video games. So like we entered our first tournament and we got completely smashed. I think we went like 0-2 in a double elimination bracket, but we kept going because we were like, all right, hold on. I'm pretty sure we don't suck, and I know you guys think we don't suck, so let's keep going. And we kind of just like started trying to actually like get better at Heroes of the Storm from like a team perspective. And I mean, we had a lot of roster changes on the way from those original 5. The only original 2 members left are me and Trummel. And that's probably the biggest like obstacle our team has had to face. We have just like, it's really hard to get people that have like good attitudes and also are like dedicated enough to the game to just like, I don't know, basically, spend a year of their life playing this game that you don't know if it's going to be super popular or not, but you want to try to make something out of it. So I think right now we have like a really good roster. The number one thing for me, the most important thing for me, is that everybody has a good attitude, because like you learn the most from your losses, and if you are a player or a person that cannot take your losses positively, cannot learn from them, you're just not going to get better at Heroes of the Storm or at whatever esport or sport you might pursue. So I don't know, maybe Hans wants to talk a little bit, but I think we're in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, basically for me, I mean, I joined on the team obviously a lot later, and so like by the time they had gone through like a bunch of people by the time like I eventually got on the team. But before that, like I tried out for Murlocs, and this is like Murlocs Inc. And like they were like breaking up in like 2 weeks or whatever when I like tried out for them. Like I didn't even know. And like I became like good friends with Cattle, and like I played a bunch with him. And then eventually Complexity picked him up, and then I kind of like tagged along as like the sub. And then after that, like, eventually it just led into me getting as the 5th member on the team. So that's pretty much the story behind me.
So go ahead, Jared.
During, I believe it was the June Open, you guys originally played with McIntyre, and then days before the July Opens when you removed him from the team. That probably was really terrifying to do. When you're the days away from one of the most important qualifiers, when there's only 2 left. What was the like thought process going into that? And I mean, I know you guys are happy that way it turned out, because you guys are in a better place now. But going into that, how was it to do that?
Well, there was a lot of tension on the team for various reasons, and like unfortunately, like you said, the timing was just absolutely awful. But like McIntyre and the 4 of us kind of came to this conclusion that like it wasn't going to work out from like both ends, and I mean ultimately for us it was positive because we found another member that does gel with us, and like none of us have anything against McIntyre or I don't know, I'm pretty sure nobody like hates him or anything, but it's really important for a team to gel as 5 people, because if you don't gel as 5 people, you're going to have problems within the team when you need to be focusing on the problems that you have like outside of the team, as in games, as in how are you going to defeat this comp, how are you going to defeat C9's early aggressive play, how are you going to defeat Tempo's rotations. So like, I mean, I guess my answer is that even though the timing was terrible, it was kind of like a mutual decision, and it's something that had to be done.
Yeah, the thing about it was, it was like such a weird situation, because we didn't even realize it at the time, but like for July, if we would have qualified in July with Rajar, we would have had to have played with Rajar. We just realized that.
Yeah,
Like
that would
we
have been bad.
yeah, we realized that like in August. And I'm nothing against Rajar, but he's our coach. So like we would much prefer play like with like an actual player who was like going to be on our team rather than like our manager coach. So
I got dumpstered by him in the PTR last night. I'll remember
We
that.
did.
Ooh,
We did.
that's brutal.
Oh,
We were trio queuing and got bodied by Rajar and Murloc, so that was great.
All right, so moving from that point, so you guys ended up qualifying in August, yes, right?
Yep.
Because it was COG and C9 that qualified in July, right? Okay, so you guys played in July with what roster exactly? It was what you have now, subbing out Rajar for
Jackson's.
Okay,
Yep.
so then you moved. So were you looking at Jackson's at the time, or was he not even considered, or even
No,
in the
Jackson's
mix?
came straight out of left field. I think Hans knew Jackson's girlfriend who like recommended Jackson's or something like that, and we were like, all right.
Basically, what happened was like we threw up that like tryout thing or on Reddit or there's like a few places that we like threw it up, and I don't know, we had like a few people like requests for tryouts, and Jack Smith I had already been friends with Jack Smith on BNet or whatever, and because I mean I knew his girlfriend, so he like added me, and basically he was just like, can I try out? And I was like, all right.
Just that voice.
That's how it went down. Basically, he just said, "Can I try out?" And like I already knew that he had prior experience in league and like just like playing in like a professional like situation. So that was like really huge for us.
Yeah.
And it definitely came in. And he came in and he didn't like have a grasp on like melee assassins 100%. He played he didn't have any Kerrigan games at all. And so we tried him out the first day, and we're like, "Can you play Kerrigan?" And he goes, "Not really." And then the next day we came back, and this dude ripped like 21 Kerrigan games, straight up, just ripped 21 Kerrigan games. We're just like, "All right." So
that's quick. That's good. Yeah. So
I don't know if I said
background, but go ahead, Jared.
I don't know if I said this on the show, but like, first of all, he's an insane pickup. He reminds me very much of like an early K1 Pro. When K1 Pro first hit the scene, he was just like some Dota player that like just did his own thing. He didn't follow the current builds. He didn't like know the meta, but he was insanely good. Like he was the original Jaina before Jaina was like a god, and that's what I see when I see Jacksmith play. Like he does his own builds. He's been playing like 2-3 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
3 months.
And he's
so
insanely good, man. The guy is like. You could not have picked up a better player, in my opinion. He is insane.
So that brings us. So you guys ended up qualifying August. So you guys ended up obviously making it to the Americas Championship. So that takes us between August Americas Championship. Walk us through a little bit what your training was like, who you were scrimming against, how did that go, what was prep like? Because you guys never played on a LAN either, which is another really cool thing that we can talk about what that experience is like as well. But just talk us through a little bit your practice and leading up to the Americas Championship.
We actually had like 2 of the best weeks of practice we've ever had leading up to the Americas Championship. We were exclusively scrimming Tempo Storm and C9 with like a little bit of Murlocs thrown in there, and then we were doing really well against Tempo Storm. Like we thought we were gonna go to Americas and just like crush them. Like that's how well we were doing. Spirits were high, everybody was excited, and then, obviously that didn't happen, but leading up to it, we were on cloud 9, no pun intended. Ha ha ha.
Good.
Great.
Lots with the delayed laugh.
So, that's your process of going into it, but what was your experience when you got there, right? America's Champs was a different beast. It's your first LAN, like Corey mentioned. Mentally, what was the state at that point? As confident as you are, suddenly there's a crowd, suddenly there's an audience. Did that affect you guys in a positive way? Everyone handles it differently.
It was unusual for me because when I got there, I felt like I was going to get pretty nervous about just like everything in general, like playing on LAN, because I've never played on LAN before, and we had never met each other before in person either. So like this was like we were all meeting each other for the first time. And so I thought I went into it thinking that I was gonna like be nervous, but as soon as like we like started practicing and stuff, like the practice room was like a little bit more rough, but like playing on the stage itself, I didn't have any nerves at all. I've been more nervous about online games than playing on that stage. That's how I felt, like finally getting up there, and yeah, it's very unusual to say that, but that's how I felt for it. And so it wasn't really that big of an issue playing on the stage because like the stage actually like those headsets that they had were insane, so we couldn't even hear anything outside of like our own comms, and so yeah.
Outside of 120 hertz monitors.
Yeah,
Right, right.
that drove me insane. Let's not talk about that.
You get like this energy when you walk out there, and I guess some people respond negatively to it and they get really nervous. But like for me and Hans, and I assume the rest of the people on the team too, like you just get up there and you get excited because you're playing Heroes of the Storm in front of people, and like they're here in Vegas and they're cheering for you, and there's tens of thousands of people watching outside. Yeah, I was surprised. Like people asked us for our signatures. I was like, "Are you sure you mean complexity?" Right? So, I mean, it was awesome. It was one of the best weekends I've ever had.
So moving past BlizzCon, you guys are now or no.
That's a big
Right?
jump.
So it is a big jump because for complexity, unfortunately, you guys did not manage to qualify. And for a lot of teams, this could, if you look at other games, you look at, the International for Dota, you look at Worlds for League of Legends, you name it. We tend to see a lot of roster changes. But from what it sounds like, complexity is holding strong. And that's good to hear. So, but I just want to hear, like, your mentality is like, are there things on the horizon that you know about? Like, what's the state of the team? Like, what is the drive now? Because BlizzCon is that golden ticket, and the chocolate bars are sold out.
Oh, need to quit right now.
Chocolate bars.
Nailed it.
That's a pretty good reference.
Like, to me at least, it's a pretty simple decision because I personally I don't believe that there's enough like other good people in the scene right now that aren't already on the top team to like make a new team or make roster changes. A, B, Heroes of the Storm is such a teamwork based game, like way more so than League of Legends or than Dota, that anytime you make a roster swap, you're gonna have like a significant period of time where your team learns to work together again. And C, like, I mean, maybe you guys hopefully got the sense from our interviews, but we're all just really good friends, and we like playing Heroes of the Storm together. We like hanging out with each other, and I mean, I personally have absolutely, no intentions of any kind of roster swaps. I hope nobody wants to leave the team, and like, I don't get the feeling that anybody does at all. So I think that, like, okay, BlizzCon's gone, but we can still keep playing this video game. We can still keep having fun, and still keep getting better. There's going to be tournaments in the future. Hopefully next year's World Championship is going to be huge and even bigger, and there'll be tons of money and supermodels and everything. But
Supermodels?
Yeah. I'm trying to dream, all right, Jake. So
Don't keep them down, Jay. Quit.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing video games, and people want to watch us play video games, and sometimes we get paid to play video games. So it's like the dream. Like, why would we stop doing this?
Can we get the supermodels swapped out for 120 hertz monitors for me?
I'll make that trade any day.
This man has his priorities straight.
Yeah, he does. Hans gets it. Just like a little side note too, when talking privately with Cognitive and Murlocs as well, they seem to not be going in. It's like a fear we kind of had going into regionals. Like, if you didn't qualify for BlizzCon, we're going to see teams disbanding. But
it always happens, like in every esport. So,
yeah. But Murlocs, they say they're not going anywhere. They're sticking as a 5. Cognitive's the exact same thing. They're going to keep playing with Slime for now. Like, none of the other 3 teams are going anywhere, which is freaking awesome because these guys have all been around since early alpha days, and it would suck if they just disappeared.
Hey, can we do a quick shout out to Murlocs, because I think they still don't have a sponsor, and they're an awesome team with like sweet attitudes and obviously skill at the game. So if you guys are looking for an esports team, I'm talking to you. Contact Murlocs Inc.
Yeah, we're definitely looking to bring them on in a future episode, hopefully before BlizzCon if we can squeeze it in, because we do feel that is a very strong team and that they do deserve that sort of publicity to get themselves a sponsor, because they showed some great games at the America's Championship along with you guys as well. So, yeah, it's a good point. So, all serious business, playing the game aside and everything, we can talk a little bit more about your personal experience at the Americas Championship. Did you guys do anything crazy that you can say publicly, or or like,
I don't know, Kubi. Can I say that publicly?
Have you been to Vegas before? You guys just said that you had met together, so anything interesting that had come from that, or just like what was your experience like outside of the tournament? Hans, go ahead.
Sure. When we got there, it was very like seamless from like the internet to like meeting in person. It seemed like all of us like we're friends that we had known for a while. I have been to Vegas before, but like I was like 16 or 17, so that doesn't really count. And so yeah, many years later. But even this time when I went to Vegas, I didn't even get to gamble. So
Noob.
I didn't have time.
Oh, please.
I mean, okay, so maybe Sunday night I had time, but like that night was that was designed for a Twitch party extravaganza. Those gambling.
That didn't
events
stop
don't
me
count.
from wasting $300 that night. Okay, shouldn't have stopped you.
Oh gosh, Jared.
Well, I guess I saved $300.
Guess so, man.
Good for you.
Blinks.
I don't know that there's too much stuff that I could talk about, but I did end Sunday night after the Twitch party at like 6 in the morning, sitting at a bar with Kubi, yelling at the bartender in Spanish. So that was.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that or not, Kubi.
Oh, I was. Yeah.
It was a good time.
And none of you guys chipped your teeth or anything like that? Like,
Oh, God.
you're all going home 100%,
Was
right?
it Mad Timmy that chipped his tooth?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was, I think Miwa like dropped Mad Timmy into the corner of something, of like a table, and
Poor Mad Timmy.
or
Poor
Timmy.
Mad Timmy. Poor Timmy.
What? Wait, was Miwa like carrying him and he dropped him?
I can't imagine that being a thing.
Miwa's so small. Like, how would he?
Well, clearly he was too
Clearly
small
a
to carry
mistake.
him, and he dropped it.
So anyways, you guys have experienced Vegas. Are you going to try to go to BlizzCon just, to experience it?
Oh yeah, I think we're
that's
all
the
going.
plan.
Oh, sweet.
Nice. Very good.
Well, those are all going. I'm pretty sure.
What are your hopes for Heroes of the Storm as a competitive game in terms of an esports format next year? I know you guys had that big discussion, like all the players and Blizzard were talking about like what's desired, but you two specifically, what would you like to see in terms of next year?
Go ahead, Hans.
I would say like if they keep doing like the third-party tournament formats and stuff, and they wanted to like also implement a league in as well, like I don't see like an issue with that. But I don't know how they're gonna like manage, like if they found like a good line between doing both of those, then that would be fine. I don't know what their plans are necessarily. I'm sure that's probably pretty hard to manage. But like a league would be pretty cool. I honestly think something like WCS. I mean, they already have experience in doing stuff like that. So if that's what they're planning on doing, that's probably like pretty good idea.
How
I also
early
think-
do you want to see them start that?
Not like, I mean, it doesn't have to be like right now because obviously they have BlizzCon. But I don't know, like if they started it early on in next year, that would probably be ideal.
Like quarter one?
Yeah, quarter one for sure. Yeah.
Links?
Pretty much the same thing. I don't think that you can take Blizzard tournaments out of a. You can take third-party tournaments out of a Blizzard game just because like every Blizzard game has like benefited and been benefited by third parties so much, and it's kind of like what makes Blizzard esports cool. Like I would not like to see them go down the road of Riot and just like only have one league and people only playing that, and there's only one stream that you watch. But at the same time, I do think players need support and like some kind of stability. So from a player's point of view, I think a league would be very beneficial. And from a spectator's point of view, having some sort of consistent competition or tournament or league or whatever could really help the esports scene grow. And I think that should be Blizzard's top priority right now, helping the scene grow. I don't know, featuring esports guides, featuring tournaments in the client, which I think they do already, which is really good. But just like growth, anything that benefits growth is good, and League is one of those things.
Yeah, something similar like ESL majors, like how they had like consistency of each week.
Yeah.
that's like something that like people can like tune into. They know it's going to happen when at this specific time. That's probably like the best way to do it.
Okay. Before we move on to EU regionals, any closing thoughts, Kubi and Jared?
No, it was a blast getting when you're not on a team with people, there's a very big gap, right? We've all known Blink since early alpha, right? We've all seen them play, but we don't get to interact with these players because we're not in the same team with them. Sometimes you make friends with other people on the team, but you never actually get to interact with these people. I just want to say it was really cool getting to meet everyone from Complexity. I liked all 5 members a lot. It was great to be able to spend time with them and with all the teams there. So it's cool being able, like he talked about how going in person there was no awkwardness. Well, you don't know these people as well as you would think from the online perspective when you're not a part of the team. But it was really cool to get to meet everyone. They're all awesome guys.
Yeah, you too, man. I actually want to say I had an awful opinion of Zoya before I met him, and then like within 5 minutes of meeting you, I came up to you and I like apologized. I'm like, hey, dude, like I thought you were a bad person, but you're not. You're really cool. So, yeah.
Thanks, Blakes.
Flawless transition. Yeah, I'll echo that, and I'll just extend that to all the teams and everyone else that I met too that's involved in the community. The community is just fantastic. I know we touched upon this last week after having gotten back from it, but very, very surprised and pleasantly surprised to see that the community really is so awesome, and I hope that continues to move forward. And I'm also very happy to hear that you guys are going to stick together as a team because I see a lot of potential in your roster that you guys have right now, and the flexibility in terms of like also the innovation that you guys are showing, adaptations to different compositions that you're getting thrown at you. Although you didn't qualify, it does please me a lot to hear that you guys are going to stick together.
Thanks, Kubi.
You guys, yeah, I could repeat all of that. I'm just going to say I love all of you. Now let's move to the next topic. So pretty much all of the other teams will be determined this weekend. The road to BlizzCon has been going on for quite a while. We have our NA teams, which qualified just over a week ago. And this weekend is not only going to be the EU regionals, but we're also going to have the finals happening over in Korea. And then the Taiwan qualifier will happen
busy
as
weekend,
well.
man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So we're going to cover all this. EU road to BlizzCon is probably getting the most attention, considering it's a Western event, at least for us, because shit, I just swore. Yes, I did. Apologies. It's happening in a stadium, and it's Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft, and Hearthstone. Overwatch is playable, and then they have StarCraft 2 exhibition matches happening at the same time. So there's a lot going on at that one event, but 2 teams will be crowned to represent Europe at BlizzCon.
Did you say Overwatch?
Overwatch is playable, 120 stations.
What? Where was it?
Wow.
It's basically BlizzCon Europe.
That's true.
Okay.
That is a good way to
It's
look
basically
at it.
BlizzCon.
No, it's not
That
fair.
that doesn't count. There's gonna be a BlizzCon.
Those people are like, oh, they get slot machines, so they don't get Overwatch?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
One of the first things I said to the technicians working in the player lounge was that my Overwatch was broken. Didn't work.
That's beautiful. Good try.
All right, so 8 teams that are going to be there representing is Rocket, Virtus Pro, Navi, Team Liquid, G2, Bob, Fnatic, and Pirates in Pajamas. I think it's actually going to be very insane competition-wise, even if you just look at some of the groups that were just announced a couple days ago, having even just Bob, Team Liquid, and Navi in the same group. Then you kind of look at the rest of the arrangements of the groups, like, well, it really doesn't matter how you put these together. There's going to be a death group. It's just like the factual, and this is something that's always been known about EU, is that they have very, very tight competition. And going into this, I think there were a lot of favorites for the Americas Championship. Maybe you can even just sort of pin the top 4, but going into the EU, I'm not even sure. Like, it's so difficult to call this.
Oh, it's easy.
Oh, you think so?
Oh.
Bob and Navi.
Jared's very confident. Explain yourself.
Okay.
Bob's probably the best team right now, in my opinion, based off what games I've seen. Like, I want to say Navi, but it's between Navi and Rocket. I don't think Liquid will qualify. I think Navi and Rocket will both do better than Liquid. I don't think Liquid's making out a group, personally.
To argue, Liquid has more players that have LAN experience. And when you're playing in an arena, LAN experience counts for a lot. There is a large auditorium essentially around
I don't know
you.
if that's true. Navi's been to like DreamHacks. Bob's had several players at DreamHacks as well when they're SK, and then ADRD's part of G2. They've all been to a lot of
I guess
things.
I forgot about the dream
EU
hacks.
has a lot of
I
lands.
forgot about the dream hacks. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and Liquid's performance in some of those was it looked shaky. Yeah, they have good results, but they definitely dropped a lot of matches that people didn't expect them to drop. So maybe they aren't as strong on land. All right, I retract my statement. I don't know. I think Bob is probably the favorite for the entire event if I had to choose one favorite. But it's so hard to choose. VP's been boot camping. Roccat, Fnatic, Gamers too. Everyone has the potential to come out. It's so much more even than what we saw at NA. NA there was like 4, right? Honestly, I thought it was going to be Complexity, Cognitive, Tempo Storm, or Cloud9. Those 4 teams had a chance, and it felt like everybody else was on like a different tier where they were going to have to work for that. But in EU, there's at least 6 teams that could be in the top.
That's the point I'm trying to drive home. And yes, Bob has been performing very well. They won the Enter the Storm Cup. They got 2nd place in the most recent qualifier, or the 2nd most.
They got 3rd in the most recent.
Okay, they got second before that.
July, yeah.
So they're showing a lot more consistency, a lot more promise in that sense. However, for example, Tempo Storm, the 2 tournaments that had happened previous to America's Championship, they didn't take that, and then still ended up qualifying, right? Something to keep in mind, that although consistency up to that point is important, anything can happen. Especially when you factor in that LAN experience and how well they play under that kind of pressure. This is and are going to be the most important games that these guys have played.
Yeah. Well, like you said, like 6 teams could easily like qualify. Like, I think all 8. Like people sleep on Fnatic and Pirates in Pajamas. They're not bad teams. Like they all take games. Like Fnatic and Pirates in Pajamas both take games off the best teams here.
Oh yeah.
So I think like literally in comparison to NA, like this is disgusting.
Oh gosh,
it's going to be a lot more interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah,
because I mean, like, okay, we all love Bob, I think, and me especially, but like, you don't know who's going to win.
No, you don't.
It's up in the air.
You're right. I went in with that half-cock Bob and Na'Vi, but you actually don't know. Literally any of these 2 teams, I feel, could be in that top 2 reasonably well.
Especially since there's been some boot camping happening. I don't know exactly which teams. I know Virtus Pro for a fact, and they also have swapped out some of the roles on their team. So there's a lot of factors going into it where it's like, well, more wild cards are being thrown into the mix.
Yeah, they move Cabbage to support, right?
Cabbage?
I'm not calling him Sebjkavej.
Just call him Sevka.
Just Sevka's fine. Anyway,
Sevka.
yes, he was their support player. He's going to be moving
Zoya can't not call him Cabbage.
I don't think it's their flex. But it is one of their damage dealers, yes, because...
well, they just made a lot of swaps in their team, but...
Yeah. No, I think it's just those 2. I'm blanking on the other guy's name. Forgive me. But it was their their KO of their team, basically, is going to be moving into their support. Unstable, I think it is. Yeah.
Can't tell if that's like shots fired or not. The KO of their team.
I refer to KO as like he's the dedicated range specialist and/or range player.
He plays some different stuff though.
Yeah, doesn't he play Abathur?
He plays Abathur like a good amount.
That's why I said specialist. God,
okay.
You're just covering your bases,
flex statement? All right, fine.
I just call that flex.
Fine. No, that's not flex. That's not. I refer to flex usually as like the person who fills into that melee spot or warrior if you need it. Like I think that's more.
Yeah.
Terminology difference is fine. Either way, they've made some swaps to that.
Yeah.
And anytime you pull somebody off of support and move them into that role, it's going to be a big change. So we'll see. We'll see how these types of factors affect. Does anyone know who Virtus Pro is boot camping with? Is it Na'Vi or Fnatic? I want to say it was one of those 2, but I'm not positive.
I don't remember.
Either way, we could talk a little bit about the actual event itself. I don't know if you can speak to this a little bit more, Jake, but like what's actually happening with the broadcasting of it? Like I heard something about like we're not going to get to see the games on Friday or something.
From what I understand it, and I'm not 100% certain on this, and you'll notice Grant Paquette just said in chat that he's flying out like tonight, and that's because the players need to get there Wednesday, and then Thursday they'll get their things figured out, and Friday the group stage will actually start. But the tournament, the venue won't open till Saturday. So most of the group stage will be played out on Friday behind the scenes. But we will be casting that, so that will be broadcast as far as I understand it.
Okay.
So there will be a broadcast. There will just be no live audience for the first portion of the group stage. And then come Saturday, I think it's going to be just elimination matches. So we go in, we do the elimination matches where the teams will move forward to their bracket matches. And then I think the schedule says it's just the finals on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And the reason it's this way is because there's 3 games at one event.
Yeah.
It shares a stage. So I think Sunday is intended to be a championship Sunday where you go in and I think it starts off with the World of Warcraft finals followed by Hearthstone finals. If I'm not mistaken, they actually put Heroes as like the closing event, which is really cool. Heroes is the youngest game. It's the newest title, and it gets that spotlight of being, the premier event at the end of the broadcast. So that's cool. I was not expecting that. I thought for sure Hearthstone was going to be like the centerpiece.
So that's interesting. Well, at the very least, we can hope that those games are streamed. Honestly, I would love to just be glued to my seat all weekend watching those games, and along with that, the games that are going to be in the finals for Korea and everything. Like I said, there's so much happening for Heroes in terms of qualifiers for BlizzCon, and it's going to be very, very jam-packed.
Yeah, you could look at it 2 ways. I mean, a lot of people say that America's Champs was too much. It was too much to watch. I mean, it's a lot of content to consume over 2 days. So this is going to be a little bit more condensed. It's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 matches on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
Really?
yep, it's decider match, and then semifinal of group. Oh wait, no, that doesn't seem right.
Are you saying really too much content, or to the format, Jared?
I don't know. I come from
It sounds like
StarCraft, where I would love to just sit there with a friend and watch MLG 2 days straight, just and not leave the couch.
Yeah.
I've always been a
used to
fan
do
of
it
doing
for-
that.
yeah, for Evo
always.
and-
I agree too.
Literally, I have worked every NA event for the last 4 or 5 months, and I was super hyped going into this weekend. I'm just gonna sit on the couch and I'm gonna watch Prague with Dreadnought, and we're just gonna sit there and drink some beers and watch freaking Heroes. I can still do that.
it's still 12 hours on Saturday.
I just prefer constant, Heroes. And it's not bad. I didn't realize that was the format.
The interesting thing is every game says backstage, except Heroes. So Heroes is getting a lot of almost preferential treatment for this event, which is again.
I think it's smart. After
is
how what Vegas did, the viewership, we literally more than doubled the highest esports tournament we've ever had in viewership.
Yeah.
For Vegas, and EU's always generally had better viewership than NA. So
Yeah,
if you
that's
put
true.
them in this position to where they're just to test the waters, I mean, we could get insane numbers for the grand finals for Heroes.
Yeah, I fully expect that it will do better than Vegas for that respect. Also because you're probably pulling viewers in from other games as well. People who are just finished watching the Hearthstone finals will say, "Yeah, I'll just keep the stream on about what's this game? I haven't really actually watched it too much." Boom! There you got more people interested in the game. That's always going to be a plus. While I'm very excited that Heroes had a very dedicated event at Vegas, and I think it was awesome. It couldn't have really gone any better. It's cool to have this different perspective as well.
Yeah.
Faye just linked this in the chat, but the website is EURTB, which is Road to BlizzCon 2015.com. If you're listening to the podcast, you want to check out the website. That is the site for you. Heroes has a $176,000. And if you guys didn't know, why is it more than Vegas? It's because ESL bumped the prize pool up. They sponsored it. They added money to the prize pool.
Yeah, Totino's didn't bump our prize pool.
Come on, Totinos.
Isn't EU's scene bigger too?
Oh yeah.
So I mean that's.
Oh, yeah.
You have
In
to
terms of the
expect-
number of teams, for
Yeah,
sure.
and the teams that participate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just it should be a pretty good viewership, I think.
I'm
I'm
excited
hyped.
about that.
Yeah.
So, what about you guys, Complexity as a team? Do you tend to watch, if it's not an American tournament, do you guys sit on Skype and watch the games together as they're broadcast to discuss them, watch them separately and reconvene later? How does that end up working out?
I think what we usually do is if people are online, we'll watch it together. But generally, we're all watching Heroes when we're not playing it or when we're not practicing. And if something happens that we want to talk about, we're "Did you see this?" And then we'll link the VOD and then we'll talk about it. But we don't have Road to BlizzCon EU powwows or let's get in the Skype call. Come on, guys, yeah. But I mean,
That's fair.
if you're on a top team, you have to be watching what other people are doing because you can't be caught off guard.
Yep. Yeah, we don't have our theater get-togethers and popcorn, but it would be cool. Unfortunately, we're on different areas of the U.S. So.
True.
Yeah, we're very much the same. You know, Zuno watches literally everything. The guy is disgusting. I don't know why. He'll watch every single tournament, but like we don't ever usually watch things together unless it's like someone's like, you have to watch, you know, Navi versus Liquid or something. But I think a lot of us will just sit around and watch regionals together just because it's a huge thing for Heroes. Like this is like we got our piece, and we know a lot of EU are watching ours, and you know, I want to see what, you know, the EU scene does to the table.
Yeah, to study the teams too. I mean, it's good for inspiration for yourself. You can see things like, whoa, we should try that. Like,
plus 2 of those teams are our competition coming up soon. So
Yes.
But a lot's gonna change after this tournament, because this is the last tournament on this patch. All of the teams will be qualifying on the same patch that was played for NA, and then we'll be going into the next patch, which will be our next topic. But before we get there, we can't forget to touch base on the rest of things, like Korea and Taiwan. But
can we? Do we talk?
what's up?
Do we know much about China? The China situation? There's like
no, we don't really.
Is that
nothing's? No, we can't really.
Nothing's
There's
confirmed,
nothing to
so
talk
we
about.
I've seen some people tweeting at
There's
Blizzard about
tweets
it, but I
and Reddit
don't
threads.
recall, I don't recall seeing any responses in an official capacity.
Yeah.
And we just can hope that they're doing their best.
I think we kind of have to
So,
say something now.
If
but-
if you guys are speculating, if you guys are speculating, it's pretty much very common for Chinese players to have issues with visas. And if you look at WCA, Edward Gaming, eStar, both the Chinese team that were supposed to be represented at the event were not able to attend due to, you know, whether it be the American government or Chinese government, or I'm not sure which party is denying them the ability
It's
to travel.
definitely the American government side.
Yeah, definitely the American. This happens across lots of esports, like Hearthstone, CS, like every esport. Anytime Chinese players want to come to America, there's always an issue, and
So
there's not much Blizzard can do about it too. It's not like Blizzard can
simply put, there's like a list of countries that America is very strict about letting temporary visas go through for. China and I'm pretty sure Brazil are like on that like top priority list where they're like, yeah, I don't know about this for gaming. Are you sure? So that's why it's always a pain, and that's why we had the issues for the Americas Championship getting in Bravo Zone, and no doubt we will have problems getting the Chinese teams. And again, we can just kind of hope that Blizzard is doing. I'm sure they're doing everything in their power to get it done.
They intentionally had the Chinese qualifiers happen much earlier than the other ones, so that they could try to sort this, because they anticipated this being an issue. So they're doing everything they can to make it work out. But obviously, we don't know. We just gotta hope that it does work out. Because if they don't make it there, and there's only 6 teams, that sucks. That sucks a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what the contingency looks like in that case where there's teams that drop out. I don't. Me and you were talking about this yesterday, Jake. Like, what do you do? Like, it's not fair to just like try to sub NA teams in if that happens. So
I think that's fair.
I mean,
more teams in the
I
best
personally don't. I don't even think
You give
as much as
second-
I would love to see you guys play, but it's not fair. It's just not fair. And like, there's going to be big backlash from all the other regions. Like, well, wait a minute. Like, why didn't you fly over another Korea team, or why didn't you give like some of the other regions a chance? So it's like, where do you draw that line? It's 2 spots, and there's like 6 regions competing for those spots. Do you hold like another last-minute tournament? It's a mess. There's no way to do it reasonably.
Yeah.
It's tough. But that's where that stands. Before we leave EU, final predictions. I say I'm going to go Bob and Team Liquid.
I'm gonna say Bob and X. I don't know who else, but
You
definitely
gotta commit.
Bob. Bob and Fnatic.
Damn.
Damn, he's going for Lowell.
Lowell,
I'm gonna say Virtus Pro and Bob.
That's
wow.
also my pick. I just want to see my boy BKB. at
Yeah,
BlizzCon.
I don't. The thing is like I haven't really watched like a ton of EU recently, so like I'm not too familiar because like all these teams are getting picked up by like and like different names and stuff. So like then there's like lots of roster swaps. So like, but I think Bob is like pretty consistent overall.
Lately,
so like
yeah.
they're definitely like
Arguing
everyone's
against their
pick.
recent
I feel
results.
scared. Like I know, like I'm the guy that hypes up Bob every single episode. But now that all 5 of us have said Bob, I'm afraid we've just cursed them. And then we all look like assholes. But I'm gonna go with Bob and my original statement, Navi. I would love Virtus Pro and Liquid to be there just because they were so much fun to hang out with PAX.
Yeah.
But my gut says Bob and Navi.
But like I said earlier, it's very much up in the air. There's so much talent in Europe. I think it's going to be a rather good tournament. Group A being very stacked. That all begins this Friday, just a few days from now.
Jake, you trying to duck out of predictions? Did you give one?
I did.
Yeah, he did. He
Oh,
said Bob and Rockhat, I think.
Team Liquid.
Liquid out.
All right. My bad.
As much as I want to root for Sake and Hasubobs,
Do you guys keep a tally of your tournament predictions?
we should.
You
Right now,
Last-
Jared
last time
destroyed
I
us.
bodied them,
Jared
so they're like
destroyed
afraid to do that again.
We did a full bracket, and Jared
Yeah.
just decimated us.
I got like one match wrong, and they were like all completely wrong every round.
We tried to go for those like crazy picks that they just didn't happen.
We had fun with it. All right, moving over to Korea. Things are concluding over there as well. It's been going on the Super League for quite some time. And, you know, if you didn't catch the upset a few weeks ago, MVP Black just dumpstering Snake Esports, playing things like Sonya Tychus Karazim.
I am.
Really crazy comps. DK versus Snake, I wouldn't say was the comps weren't as interesting. It was more standard Korea.
Wait, what part of the bracket are you talking about? Because they played twice.
Well, I'm looking. I have it up on the screen right
Losers finals. Losers finals.
Okay.
DK versus Snake was such a heartbreaking dude.
Well,
Oreo
the
man looked like
Snake
he was
man,
gonna
like-
cry, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they did play Vikings, so I thought that jumped out at me as very strange. That game was like a huge momentum swing too. Like that Garden of Terror game, it was like a core dive, and they were off by like 15% or something like that. They came back, won the game, and you could just like feel the momentum shift too. It was like something that like Snake was just like not prepared to deal with, and they just rode that momentum like throughout the rest of the event. Whereas previously they had met in the bracket, and it was like a 3-1 easy victory for Snake,
Right.
and they just got like shook up so hard.
But that's the cool thing about Korean esports. I feel like every time I watch Korean esport, their ecosystem is so much better in every way. And when it comes to their coaches, when it comes to their research and their strategizing, their preparation for their opponents, they know who they're facing days and days in advance. And they spend a good 40-plus hours that week specifically preparing very ironed out drafts for every map, every situation. They think about it all, and they have a coach that's writing and helping them sort things out. And they went back and they grilled those losses, I guarantee you. And they approached this lower bracket finals saying, you know what, I bet you MVP beats Snake. We're going to rematch them, and then we're going to crush them. And
I was so heartbroken, man. I love Snake so much. I think Oreo Man is disgusting. I think Kinu is one of the best supports I've
he's
ever
definitely
seen.
up there.
And oh man, and only one team qualifies from Korea. That's the crazy thing. Because I think everyone, like, you know,
Yeah.
we want to be cocky about a region. Korea's the best.
They're good.
Like,
Yeah,
they're
they're
better
good.
than China. They're better than anyone. And only one team qualifies. Like, it would be better if 2 teams, because even though Snake lost, like, Team DK looked really good. But I've been such a Snake fan for so long. I was pulling for them to beat MVP Black. But man, that was if you didn't watch those games, like watch MVP Black versus Snake in the winners finals, I believe. Yeah, winners
Yeah.
finals.
The
And
stomp.
then the stomp.
The stomp
MVP
with like
Black just
crazy strategies too. Like you want to
destroyed
see
them, yeah.
what kind of competition NA, EU, China is going to be up against. Very likely, I'm going to say it, MVP's for sure like the favorite to take that, get that qualifier spot and go to BlizzCon. And they are going to be bringing a crazy amount of strategies, a very massive hero pool in their team fight mechanics, synergy, all of that. It like looks to be super top notch, and I can't wait to see how the other regions interact with them.
so,
Can't wait to see America crush Korea. So
Yeah, that too though.
soon, TM.
We're bringing it back at BlizzCon, man.
Yeah.
PAX was only an upset.
Fax was only an upset. Maybe MVP Black versus Team DK KR, because they do have a Chinese team as well, will be happening this weekend as well. We will know the Korean team that qualifies for BlizzCon, and I can't wait. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to be so jet lagged in Europe,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I have to watch the VODs. It's going to be really hard to not get spoiled.
Wait, the finals are this weekend too?
Yeah, everything is this
Damn,
weekend.
I'm gonna die.
It all concludes this weekend.
I'm not living through this weekend.
So that says at least on Team Liquid, says exactly or just about 3 days from now. So it'll be at like late at night for us.
Around 2 a.m. for us, I think.
Yeah. So midnight about there.
Okay.
For us. So I mean, it's something that's very watchable, and that would put it at Friday night. So cool. Yeah, I'll be sure to check those out live. I'm really excited about it.
I think that'll be Tastos is casting that.
Yeah, that would round out the final 3 teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
and Taiwan as well. Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest. I follow Taiwan very loosely. I look at the results. It's hard to get.
Following them loosely is impressive for people that follow Taiwan. By the way.
It's like I look at the results and I say, oh, okay. Because if you go to the Wikipedia, one thing you'll notice is it says broadcast talent. Like it's impossible to find a broadcast to watch these matches. You might be able to dig and find replays, but we know nothing about these teams. We really don't.
Can you even name any of them off the top of your head? I
No.
can know Aik or something like that. Some weird ass name. That's like the only one I recognize off the top of my head. Is
Shadow
Aik.
Cheetah. That's a sweet name.
So we'll see.
So this will all conclude this weekend with the playoffs, and then we'll have the team that will represent Taiwan.
Yeah.
So it's cool. That'll give us the 8 teams that will be representing at BlizzCon. So you guys mentioned a little bit a patch. And all these these regions had qualified in the same patch, and we got a little taste of that coming up with the PTR being put forward. And I've got to say, personally, I am incredibly excited. This might be my favorite patch to date.
Wow.
Coming up.
Oh.
From the Warrior, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little
Okay.
bit of bias there, but for sure, I'm really excited because there's no getting around it. The Warrior meta has been pretty stale as the last
Leo and
month and a half.
JoJo.
More or less, yeah. And then you kind of just fill a little bit with your sides, warriors. But the pool is huge. There's a lot of warriors in the game. We barely even see, 20-30% of them. It feels like.
It'll be Link.
The link to the patch notes. Yeah, I'll get that.
All right. So before we get into the medic and all that, let's all give a big thumbs up to my favorite change in this patch, and that's this guy.
I can't. Oh, the Zeratul nerf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Zeratul has been first pick, first ban in all regions for so long. Incredibly powerful hero, and he's still going to be very powerful, but he's got more of a risk to it. To execute, the blink in combos that we see, you have a smaller window because they reduce the window in which you have to blink back out with Wormhole by 1 second, so it's now 2 seconds. And the casting range on VP is now reduced by 50%. So you really have to blink in, VP, and then Wormhole out, and that's all you're going to get done. So I'm pumped about these changes.
It's enough nerf that he's probably won't kill him.
No, I don't think it will.
It's not. I mean, it's a good change, but I still feel like he's gonna be still insanely strong.
I mean, the ult is still the best ult in the game. So
Yeah. So.
as long as VP's around, he's gonna get picked. But I don't think he's game breaking now, which I honestly think he was before.
Yeah.
Even before people were before Korea found out the stupid build with focus attacks, people were still picking Zeratul every once in a while just for VP. So you're 100% right with that. As long as VP's there, he'll be a good pick. Yeah. I want to be selfish too, because Jake decides he just gets to talk about whatever he wants. I want to talk about my favorite change in the patch. We get to watch replays with friends.
Oh, yeah.
That is freaking insane. Not only just from a practice perspective where we all just get to sit at our computers and get to watch, we don't have to huddle around a computer. How do you do that out as complexity when you don't live together? You have to have someone stream to some obscure hitbox or something, or just happen to be always I'm at 7:30 guys, where are you? Now you get to sit there as a team and watch replays, but also tournaments can finally run off of replays.
Look
Before,
at the loading
it
screen.
Was so bad.
Sorry to interrupt. My window's small. My window's real small. The new loading screen. Oh.
Yeah, the load screen is.
Yeah, we freaked out yesterday when we first saw it because we didn't quite pick up on that in the patch notes. We saw that and we're like, "That's amazing!" We've been talking about this for a while now, and this is perfect.
They showed it at BlizzCon a year ago.
Yeah, it was some time. It's been some time.
I know some people were freaking out about it having 12 slots, so they're like, "Oh, that means more observer slots." No. Okay, the game can hold. The problem that we don't have more observer slots is because in StarCraft games, the custom games, you can only hold 12 people in them. Since Heroes is 5 versus 5, that's 10 of the slots in the game plus the 2 observers. That's why it's limited to the 2 observers right now. So people are like, "Oh, you can get 12 slots in the replays." That's just because you can have 12 slots in any game for Heroes. So don't expect, 8 extra observer slots now, but it's still a good thing. I'm still hyped about the replays, man.
Yeah. It's a little buggy, but they'll get it fixed out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've tried it yet, but like sometimes like if you skip around in it, it'll freeze a few times for like everyone until like everyone catches up. It's like everyone has to sync together, but it's a good step in the right direction because it's really important to have something like that.
Better than Hitbox, definitely.
Yeah.
I say on the Twitch TV stream, haha. Right?
Kubi,
I mean, we've never used it.
favorite change?
Favorite change? I think it's probably my favorite hero now is not obscure.
Uh-oh.
Don't say it. If you say that stupid panda, I'm gonna slap.
Nah, come on, it's Stitches, man. Like,
Stitches.
this is like literally
That was his original voice.
Yeah, that was
first hero.
When I first met Kubi. He was playing Stitches in a random QM game.
Yeah, dude, Stitches was the beast, and I used to love playing him all the time, and I just like had to stop because it's just, especially in a quick match where it's like if you don't have the health pool to even like tank anything, I can go on for a while about that, but. Yeah, I'm looking at these changes for Stitches, and we'll get into it a little more in depth, but it looks pretty good, and I'm excited to see him more because I'll be honest with you, from a viewer perspective, from a casting perspective, he's an exciting hero, and as long as he's not in that like silly broken banned every game kind of spot, like it's gonna be awesome. It's just gonna make the game more fun to watch for sure.
He seems really good. Like let's just talk about him, just his level 1 talents. They gave him Dampened Magic and Hungry for More. And, we had a game where Jared played with Hungry for More yesterday, and that 30 additional health for every globe you pick up permanently, that becomes insane in the late game.
I think I was at 8k HP at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like 8,000.
Yeah, and I was playing ETC.
I was up, just for the record, I was intentionally going out of my way to, I would literally get a globe and then immediately leave. Like, I wasn't doing anything early. I was intentionally just globe stacking, but 8k.
You had like 8,800, I think, actually, by the end of the game.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it was insane. It was disgusting.
Insane amount of HP.
Yeah, you had like 3k more than ETC at the same level, obviously. Yeah. But that's quite a bit more HP, and I think it's going to go a long way. Honestly, it feels very strong, and I'm not sure why you'd pick the other talents, but we'll once we get some games under our belt with that, we'll see how actually strong it is. But he does get the Dampened Magic at level 1, which is basically like his block version for abilities.
Yeah,
reduction.
It's anti-mage is the idea.
We did some of the math on like Dampened Magic, and it's always better to take Chew Your Food or the health, permanent health.
Yeah. Oh, Hungry.
Because like the Dampened Magic, so I think me and Kettle were doing it like last night, and it was something on the lines of, for the Dampened Magic to be effective, someone has to hit you at like level I think it was like 16 or something. Someone has to hit you with like 2 substantial nukes for it to mitigate the damage in turn. And like Chew Your Food does the same thing. It just heals you for that same amount.
Yeah,
like
it also affects auto attacks and not past the first 2 spells that hit you too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like we figured that it's always better to take like Chew Your Food or the other one. We haven't really tested around with the infinite health, but it seems like it could be pretty good.
So we're not going to do a full patch run through. I guess the final point on Stitches is just Gorge. Thoughts on the new Gorge, where it doesn't slow you down? Does that make Stitches more viable? Is that like?
I think it's just, in my opinion, like a nice quality of life thing.
Okay. I mean, Bob played them a lot already. Like I say, like a fifth of their games. You see Stitches get picked by them. So, why aren't we doing a full patch breakdown? Isn't this our last topic?
Yeah, Jake.
I mean, I guess we can, but it's PTR, so
we don't have to go like super.
I don't like to go super ham into the numbers on PTR, just because it's not
Final.
Right.
You're right. I forgot PTR.
That's my fault. I said numbers.
Yeah, shut up,
God. Blinks, favorite thing.
All right, so mine's pretty obscure. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so in one of the bug fixes, they changed the way that auto attacks reset.
Yes!
on certain
Oh
heroes.
yeah, that's not obscure.
And I think
Please.
Sonya feels so much better now with her, like, she can auto attack through slamming now. And Sonya was already good. Now she's just...
Broken.
She's
God tier?
really... I don't know if she's broken or God tier, but she feels good. You know, like, when you play a hero that feels right...
Feel it in your bones.
It feels right. And yeah, it's something she needed. It's great. Like, I don't want to go back and play on live anymore because it just feels smoother. It's good.
I was hyping that up to Jake and Kubi last night. Like, it's not just to Sonya. It's like Zeratul with his Q. Like, you have to time auto attack with that. Even Tyrande, you would have to do it as well. It's just a good fix overall. Yeah, she feels great. Like, it was very annoying having to time your autos between Ws.
Yeah. Anything that like makes the game feel a little bit smoother and faster is good.
Yeah, definitely. You can really feel it because, like, I remember going to try mode and I was like, "Do I have more FPS or is just the game running smoother?" Like,
are you sure you're using a 120 hertz monitor?
Exactly.
I was indeed on my 120 hertz, not my other screen. So
Damn. Well, BlizzCon needs a monitor sponsor now just to keep the Heroes players happy.
There was 2 other heroes that it affected as well. It was Tyrande and
Zeratul?
Zeratul. Okay.
Cleave. Void Slash.
I'm sure there's more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more, but those were the 3 that stood out to me.
Yeah,
Like,
there was a
have
Reddit thread that
kind
said
of
there's
play
3.
around.
Seismic Slam, Light of Elune, and Zeratul's Cleave.
Yep.
Hans, favorite thing?
Favorite thing would have to be the Shadow Stalk change.
Nice.
Oh.
The reason
So
that
he's shaking his head.
now hear me out.
Oh, no. You're right there. You're right. It's a good change. It's just dumb how they first changed Shadow Stalk. Like,
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, like, honestly, like, Tyrande doesn't need any more, like, buffs or anything like that because she's already, like, really strong.
Only
Obviously.
NA thinks that, though. It's funny.
Well, I understand that, but, like, I feel like if people, like, got to playing around with her more in, like, different team comps, they would understand, like, how powerful she actually is. And, like, with this, she doesn't really need buffs, but this change is pretty interesting because I guess they were trying to, like, make it more focused towards allowing her to be, like, a solo healer. But, don't really think you can do that at all. But the change is interesting because people like initially thought like it wasn't going to heal for very much, but actually like it does. Like it's a global heal for your whole team. It's kind of like Chen ult in Dota. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but Chen in Dota has like a AoE heal for his whole team. It's very similar, except this one's like a heal over time.
Yeah.
But this one is actually pretty strong. Like for it, like healing over time, and it's global and everything, and it heals your whole team. It's actually like a pretty good amount of healing, and your team still goes stealth. The only thing that they removed was it making it so that you can't see the other team.
Yeah, reveal.
It definitely makes Shadowstalk a very viable heroic, whereas before, the last time I remember seeing Shadowstalk is Cloud9 did some cheeky thing on Garden of Terror with Tyrael, and they Shadowstalked and immediately judgmented for just to force.
us.
Yeah, that was awesome, but that's the last time I've seen the ability used in a competitive match.
I don't like I didn't like it. Used to be the stealth used to work like it does now in the PTR, where it's like you stealth everyone, they're stealth, and then they change it to like that little weird ass stutter thing that like always resells, and it's like really annoying and stuff. So I'm glad they changed it back. And the way Dreadnought described it was like the new heals, kind of like a mini Tranquility, but like Han says, it's global.
It's
so like
huge.
literally, you could be like, if you could be split pushing, you could like still be in lanes, and like someone calls out for a heal, like shit, I'm about to die. You might pop Shadowstalk, then you you heal them, like
crazy good
hello?
plays can be made.
It
Crazy
can
good
also
plays
save
can be made.
people because I mean it makes you stealth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, it can save people that way too. So it's pretty interesting. Like I've almost like think that a lot of the time it's going to be better than Starfall now because like Starfall is good, but if you don't need the damage and like the slow, if you already have like a lot of utility, you might as well take something that's like going to heal your team and like give you other utility elsewhere. So
yeah, it's all about the Shadowstalk medevac ambush.
It's
right.
That's the dream.
Also on a short cooldown too. It's 50 seconds I think, and if you're taking battle momentum, like it's really short. So
yeah,
it's really cool.
really happy with the Tyrande change too.
Hans, favorite thing?
That was it.
Yours?
That
Rip?
was it right
Good.
there.
Do you pay attention?
Being a Tyrande player has to be my favorite thing.
Okay, so just running through the whole list. In terms of other changes, we know that we talked about the new loading screen, which is obviously phenomenal. It's what else could we ask for?
Could be cleaned up a bit, but like
They could
from
put
where-
Yeah, I
right.
mean they could make a
Skin
look.
art. The
Skin art?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
skin
pick a
art.
skin, they could have the skin
Oh
art.
yeah, that'd be cool.
That's so complicated.
But it's still it's a
Don't they have
the jump they made from what it was before to this is huge.
Oh yeah,
So,
it's substantial for sure.
you know,
And try mode got like this ridiculously
Oh,
good
yeah.
update.
New try mode is great.
You can now, instead of spamming level up, you can set your level. It's a meter. So
Yeah.
last time I played, I set it to 30. It knows I want to be level 30.
Hey, can we make that my favorite change now? The try mode.
There's a
Got it.
target dummy that's going to show you your total damage done and your damage per second. And you can step away from that, and that'll all reset itself. You can turn Malf on and off. Toggle ally. Yay, Malf's here. Go away, Malf. Now he's gone. And you can practice, like, you know, if you're trying to do some cheeky Abathur solo of the Knights or something at level 13. Whatever you're trying to do, you can practice that now. You don't have to queue up a bot game to do that. So this is huge. This is good for the game as an esport. This is good for people who just want to improve their game itself. It's a really big deal.
Yeah, it's a big step in the right direction. There's still a lot more that they can add into this, if I can just be like picky about it, and that is trying to find like interactions between abilities. And that's always the biggest thing for me. It's like, well, what happens if I'm doing this particular thing and I get void prisoned? And it's like the thought of having to like boot up a game with someone on the other team and like get to level 10, like it is a massively time-consuming effort to do that. So if they can find a way to like make that next step to that sometime in the future, I'll be so happy with try mode.
Oh, like what? Like make that a battleground that you can make in custom games in 1v1?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
where you
that
can,
would be
you
amazing.
Can, you can slide the level or something at any point and then just like reset cooldowns. And like you
Or
can
just-
make your own custom game like that. That's
That would
fine.
be amazing.
If
Yeah.
they just like gave us like a sandbox mode where I could control like a hero on my team and a hero on the enemy team.
That's
and control how
fine
they
too.
interact,
Either of those
like,
work.
I think we would find so many bugs in like within a week and just release it to the community. Let us quality test your product.
Like when the Zeratul bug first came out with Shadow Assault, Dreadnought and I sat in a custom game for like 2 hours, and it was like, we gotta wait for, you know, Shadow Assault to be up, you know, we gotta level up and stuff, and it's like, well, clearly that was a very specific situation where we're testing a bug, but like, there's other mechanics that you can like refine. That's the huge thing. Like, I'm not the best at landing, you know, Wailing Arrow or something, so let me like practice it over and over and over again versus like, you know, Zeratul who's blinking around. You know, when he blinks in, can I time my Wailing Arrow right when he blinks in? Like, if he blinks into my Uther, can I stun him before he wormholes out? Like, you know, practicing small little mechanics like that, you know, friends in try mode would be huge. Just to be able to like
not only that,
things.
also for like content creation as well. If people are making guides, if any kind of stuff like that, where they want to showcase like a particular thing, like here's how you ideally do like a Zeratul combo against this particular hero. Like now you can go in and set
on
up
the
that
target
situation.
dummy. Like,
well, the target dummy is fine, but if it's like you want to like against Uther in particular, like you need to like go in and make sure you keep this particular spacing. I don't know what it is, but like being able to set up those exact scenarios for content creation so people can learn the game better. I mean, again, I'm super happy with this try mode. I want to make that very clear. It's a great step in the right direction. Still a lot more that can be done with it, and I think a lot more will be figured out about the game once we have those tools.
One other little update is just the UI in-game. You now have this little icon that says you can now use the healing fountain. That'll populate here. And any kind of other stats you have, like the amount of globes you picked up for Regen Master or whatever, like buffs and debuffs will all show in this little counter in the bottom.
The turret change, where you aggro a turret, you get a little red scope that zooms in on you,
really
like little quality of life changes that like, you know, sometimes you'll take 2 to 3 shots of a turret and be like, I didn't even notice that, and you know, it's like for newer players that's huge. Like, what is this thing happening and I'm dying? Oh, this turret's shooting me now. Cool, you know, those little things like that are awesome.
Yeah, they also like changed some of the reticle for like skills. Any kind of like AOE or something like that. Like the icons are more visible, I want to say.
Yeah,
but they're like they made it like yellowish, so it's easier to see.
Oh, it's like channeling, casting your own abilities, everything. It's all like the same. It's the same color as your nameplate. It's like that exact yellow.
They want to like keep the consistency.
So
there.
good.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's just small things like that you know, you build those up over time and the game just gets so much better.
Yep.
You know, you isolate that one thing and it's like, you know, it's cool and all, but when it's everything, it's awesome. I love when they do things like this.
Just while we're talking about this, I just want to say just a huge props to the entire team at Blizzard for never being satisfied. The fact that they're taking all these things that are perfectly fine, you know, based on the average player's perspective, and then just making it better and making it better. Like the color change on the channeling that you just mentioned, and the targeting of the towers. None of that was at all necessary, but it just makes the experience so much better. So, well done.
All right, so moving into Battleground changes, we can cover these fairly quickly. A lot of them I like, and they're sort of, targeted at like just fixing the mechanics on a lot of the maps. So the overgrowth on the Garden of Terror now affects the enemy core, disables it, and also the the actual terrors that you hop into have more health the later the game progresses. On Infernal Shrines, the Punisher now
you
leaps.
kind of skipped an important one, Kubi. Disabling the core.
That's
He said that.
I just
said
Said
it.
that?
thing you said.
Oh,
But he said it
I
as like
zoned out. Then I'm sorry. You glazed over it so quickly that like I was. Just,
I want to get through all of them.
But that's such a huge change.
That's
I
so
agree.
big.
I agree. I want to get through all. There's like three
let's
more
let
that I need to
QB
get
do
to.
through it, then we'll
we can,
jump back.
Then we can hop back.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
my bad.
So
Sorry.
Garden of Terror is fine. All right. So the Punisher, I think the big one here is that it now leaps to the nearest enemy or person on your team, their team, whatever. So you can kind of like bait it out, and it's not so like random. And I think a lot of people are frustrated with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so the amount of skeletal
Has been increased.
guys, it's increased to 40. I think that's probably good. I mean, it still doesn't affect the whole last hitting thing. Unless there's an additional change I haven't read
This
yet.
is so big. Skeletal defenders no longer
that's
take increased
really
damage from
important.
abilities and talents that deal bonus damage
Okay,
to minions. So Knight takes Pawn, Bird of
Skeletal
Prey,
Swing.
Yeah.
Skeletal
York's
Swing,
Q.
all those abilities that are like make these warriors so OP on that battleground. Not anymore.
Yep.
Then the last one is
Really
Sky
good.
Temple. You can't have 3 temples spawn at the same time.
Okay, so I don't see it here. I thought I noticed it yesterday. I've only played like 3 games on the PTR, but can anyone else confirm? I thought I noticed yesterday that the Dragon Knight on Dragonshire when it blows up, it doesn't pull you around.
Yeah,
anymore.
I remember seeing that
But
as well.
Pretty sure I called it out yesterday, but I didn't like.
So I was playing on Garden today, and it happened there. So
Okay, maybe
it's
it was just like-
still.
But I remember seeing like 3 heroes just near you very distinctly, just
Right.
getting knocked back and not getting like warped all around.
So I don't know. It seems like they're working on fixing it, but I definitely saw a few weird physics.
Okay.
Today.
I think it's still sort of there.
It seems better.
It's better, yeah. But yeah, you just need to work on it a little bit.
It's
Overgrowth,
like 10% better every patch.
10% better. Yeah, we're gonna eventually get to the point where it doesn't break the game, because that's stupid. Overgrowth disables enemy core now. You could already like if you get a late game terror and
Garden's
don't have
game
one,
length.
you would win the game. Like
Yeah.
you could basically guarantee win the game
Yeah.
just by pushing in. And now that you can disable the core. Hello?
Cool. So that means we're going to see more aggressive fights over seeds once you hit that like 16, 17 minute mark. If
Yeah,
it's like really
sure.
that impactful, which means more exciting plays, less like passivity there. And if the game lengths are shorter on Garden of Terror, I'm all about that.
Yeah, me too.
Because sometimes they drag
Oh,
out
yeah.
really long.
Yeah.
Like as intense as it is for the players, just about everyone else's experience is bad. It's just like okay, they're posturing, and it's like it's not necessarily the most like finesse that's going on. It's just like a lot of we could lose the game if one person messes up here, so let's just play incredibly safe. Which is, I mean, it's fine. You guys are doing the right thing in that perspective. But if this is like not forcing you to do that anymore, I'm all about that change.
I forget what tournament it was, but they're like asking like the teams and players like, which 2 maps do you want banned? And I was just like, oh, let's get rid of Mines and like Infernal Shrines because that map's stupid right now. And then people were, and like all other teams were like, no, we want rid of Garden. They're like, well, why do you want to get rid of Garden? It's like, oh, because the game is too long. It didn't have anything to do with balance or anything. It was like because the game's too long. And so like anything that like
Wow.
literally knocks it down like by just any minute, like just a few minutes, that's
Shaving off 4 minutes of the average game length is a big deal, and it'll definitely do that. I think.
I was very happy with the 2-minute Spider Queen change last patch. The scaling that improved after 15 minutes, like that was a big deal. We actually, for no one predicted this, but we did see longer games on that Battleground for that reason, just because the mechanic was so bad at finishing the game.
yeah. The difference between that and Dragonshire is the Dragon Knight spawns in the middle of the map. You don't have to walk across, 3 football fields to get to the enemy's core. You're pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And the map's smaller. But Garden Terror is huge, and then you spawn in your base, which it's a long walk. It's a long walk.
It's a long walk. Okay, so we talked about that. Shrines. Any Blinks, Hans? You guys have any thoughts on Infernal Shrines change?
It's nice that the like skeletal swing and Knight take spawn doesn't take or isn't that good anymore because it's not going to affect draft as much because Leo was pretty much mandatory first ban or first pick.
Yeah.
Because he just like won that map with Skeletal Swing, and I think they scale now too, right? There was, I don't know if it's in the
No,
in
it's
the
probably
patch
in the
notes,
data mine that.
but yeah, there was like a bug where they weren't scaling. Their health wasn't scaling correctly.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully that
Interesting.
works now
Yeah.
too.
Also, we have some nerfs on those abilities. We'll get to that in a bit as well. So it's like
Yeah.
twofold.
For sure.
Yeah, like Leoric on Infernal Shrines is just so insane that you would literally had to first pick it or first ban it. So like it's nice that those things don't really affect it anymore. It's also interesting that they wanted to make it 40 now instead of 30. So it kind of like I feel like there's going to be a lot longer fights drawn on the point.
That's a good thing, like balance-wise, though, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the first time
for
we've
sure.
seen Blizzard halfway nerf something, right? They're not like this is OP in X situation, so we're just going to completely delete it, right? They took it and they did an isolated nerf, which is just great. It could be like that's a thing we were worried about because that could be confusing to newer players. Like when you play Leoric, you see that he does X damage versus minions. You know, and then you're suddenly doing it versus this, like, why isn't it working here? But they're still willing to do like isolated nerfs, which is just great for game's balance and just great for the game's future. Because I think this is the first situation they've done something like this, where it's just very targeted at something.
And now there's no heroes that just have this immediate crazy power fighting over those shrines for the clear, right? There are heroes that'll have strong ability in the late game, but now there's reason to prioritize. All right, we really want to get kill fast because chain bomb, or we want to disable poison Sylvanas, whatever it is. And I think that's far more compelling than Skeletal Swing's pretty good.
Nailed it.
True. Not arguing with that.
Yeah.
So, okay, Sky Temple no longer Triple Temple. It's not a thing anymore. The
This
end
one I'm
game
not
situation.
sure about. This one I don't know. Like it did create a very interesting scenario. Usually it was just like the nail in the coffin for us. It wasn't too often that it was just like both teams that are fairly equal point, and it's like they had to come up with this crazy strategy to figure out like what the best approach was, because it forces like a very hectic, crazy shot calling decision making, and like only the most experienced teams are going to make that right call every time. And it's a type of strategy that we see on Dragonshire late game, where teams are like rotating around trying to get those like the shrines, like what's the best way to do this to optimize it to force the enemy team to make a mistake. So from that perspective, like we won't see that particular situation where two teams are very even, and maybe that's for the best, that we don't just see that like, well, they're done.
I'm pretty sad about the change. I think probably one of my favorite games ever was in the July Open, Tempo Storm versus Cloud9, where it was that very situation. It was a very, very close game. Cloud9 was like on the verge of winning it, and it was just like crazy shot calling from Dread with the triple shrines, and that was probably one of the most hype endings to a game I've ever seen. So it led to, like Hubi said, very exciting moments. But I'm curious, like, what the two players here think, like, from a playing in that situation, whether you're ahead or down. Like, was that like healthy for the game?
I mean, it doesn't make sense that they really did that. I think because they're making the games last longer with that. Because when 3 shrines spawn, that's the point where you're like, all right, whoever gets these, the game's gonna end.
I don't think I've ever
99%
seen a
of
game
situations.
go past that. I don't think I've ever seen it happen.
Not
Exactly.
in a pro game.
Yeah.
And it's also like really super cool, like you guys just talked about, like 3 shrines spawn and you're like, all right, like we either have to clutch this or the game's over, and that goes for both teams, and it's cool from a player's perspective, it's cool from a caster's perspective, I'm sure, and cool from a spectator's perspective.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a loss. I think they should bring it back. Like that was so cool.
Well, the triple shrine like brings excitement when it's like a close game. So, I mean, when it's not a close game, I guess like Kubi said, it's like the last nail in the coffin. But like it definitely, when games are closer, which in like the competitive aspect, they can be like the triple shrine is really, really interesting. But they were probably thinking more of like on the public side of things.
That could be it too. Yeah.
Like they're just like the triple shrine spawns and well, game's over, 100%.
Yeah. Maybe there were situations where they felt like the counterplay options if you're like 2 levels down or whatever, and it's just the core.
Yeah,
it's like, well,
right.
there is literally nothing we can do. No matter where we rotate, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to perhaps avoid a situation where it's in an unwinnable spot. That's the best that I can come up with for that logic. But
I think that's good though. I think that's fine. I think
I'm all about making sure that like if there's a point where it's like the game is going to end 22 minutes in, whether you want to have any say about it or not. Like if you've gotten to the point where you're in an unwinnable spot, well, you just lost. Like it's just happening sooner.
Yeah. Yep. 2 maps in the pool right now, in my opinion, have like some of the most epic endings. Are 2 maps that like you're forced, like there will be an end of the game based off objectives, and that's Sky Temple and Blackheart's Bay. If you get to the point where it's a clutch fight at the turn-in, where like it'll either end the game or not, like those endings are always insane on Blackhearts. On Sky Temple, when you get the triple shine, like you will end the game eventually with objectives. No other map you can guarantee end the game with that. I guess kind of Mines if you get 100 skull, but like. Those games were always hype endings when it was like, a really close match. So I think that was a fine thing to have. That's the reason they're doing it. I don't know if I really like it.
I'm with you, Jared. I think the GG moment, if you will, on Sky Temple with the triple temple always feels so satisfying. It always feels so exciting, right? And I'm sad to see it go. I really am.
Yeah. I'm sure they do have their reasons, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of data, I'm sure, that we are not privy to. So moving on, we talked about a few of the heroes just based on, early discussions. But we
don't have to go super in-depth with these, just kind of get, like, the general feel for each hero.
So, Zebo. Spider damage, a little bit weaker. Leaping spiders, a little bit weaker. But the Ravenous Spirit now has more vision.
Radius increase. And this is interesting for me because I'm not sure when they decided to put this change in, but we've noticed very recently, and I want to say like America's Championship, like Zebo barely saw any play, even though like up to that point beforehand he was seeing a lot of play. So like I don't know if they were like, well, let's throw this in. If you're looking at tournaments where it was like Major League playoffs for NA and like other events, even Korea was playing it a lot more like 3 weeks ago, and now almost no play.
They were doing frog builds too, though. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, they were doing different builds. I don't think they were doing leaping spiders.
Not very often.
What was their 16? Oh, they're taking specialized toxin.
Special toxins, yeah.
They
Ever since the initial nerf of Nazebo, like with the nerf of Nazebo plus the constant buff to healing, like with also how easy it is to interrupt Ravenous, like even if you go spider builds, whatever, like it's so easy to out heal a Nazebo. I like even when he was being run in EU and like even like during his brief appearance here in NA, I haven't been impressed with him. And nerfing him, maybe like Blizzard sometimes does nerfs before a buff. Like we've seen that in the past, like when they randomly nerfed Lily when she was terrible, and then she came back and they're like, we did all these changes, we're just preparing for that. Maybe that's the case, but I like you said, he was being run in NA for a while. Like after the initial changes, people were like, maybe, but no, there's still other. But like he's fallen off almost completely. Like you'll see him a niche pick every once in a while.
The reason like I feel like he was getting picked so much is because nobody was playing Nazebo for forever, and then like there's like everyone's like, let's just bring Nazebo back, and there's like a week where people just like completely forgot how to play against like Ravenous and stuff. And then, like, finally, after that week ended, literally everyone was just like,
hey, Lunar Flare is pretty good.
Let's just pick heroes to interrupt this and, like, not go with this. And, so then he, like, stopped seeing a lot of play after that. So,
yeah. It all ended with that perfect cleanse by Dreadnought stopping out the Lunar Flare that connected.
That was so stupid.
You bring up a good point, though, Hans, that there are these sort of, like, weird ebbs in, like, the meta. Where it's like there's this hero that gets played a lot, everyone figures out how to play against it, kind of like you can maybe even argue Stitches. And
Kerrigan's a perfect example.
Yeah, Kerrigan's an example where there's like just some counterplay, and if you see Kerrigan a lot, then people will like remember how to play against it. But like it'd be awesome, and I know we'll see this in the future where teams like really start to like look back into the meta. Like, what about that hero? We decided that this hero was bad, but it hasn't been played in 4 months. Do people actually remember how to deal with this? Let's bust it out at a tournament. Like actually practice it like in secret, bust it out. And like, if it was something like Nazebo or Kerrigan that hadn't seen some play in a while,
Bloodlust,
like, it would just
stop.
Jake.
That's the thing, like, I feel like in this current state of the game, when people aren't playing against certain characters, they freak out because they don't know how to deal with it in many ways. So that's why, like, I feel in the America's Championship, we saw a lot more Thrall
Yeah.
because people didn't have practice against Thrall, and so people kind of like didn't realize like maybe this hero could like do something, even though he didn't really do very well in the tournament overall. Like it was kind of like some of these surprise picks really like concern people.
Hans,
So
this is why we need the Gazlo. We need the Gazlo. This is what I'm talking about.
It worked once, okay, and that's all we can hope for.
We talk about picking Gazzo literally every draft. We're like, is this a draft where we could pick Gazzo? Is this a Gazzo draft?
That's
Do they have 5 melee?
It's I don't know. Like he has his place in very, very, very specific games,
Like triple melee assassin.
Yeah.
That was a fun game, dude. On Sky
Yeah.
Temple, that was a fun game.
Yeah, it was a very, very fun game.
That was July.
Yes, that was July. It was the first round, I think.
Yeah, it was opening round.
It was when you guys beat them in the winners bracket. That's
And
the
lost
tournament I
them.
won that awesome bracket competition on.
Ooh.
But yeah, you guys beat them and then unfortunately lost in the losers bracket going back.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of heroes in this game that people don't give respect to, and I think eventually people are going to realize that certain characters have their place in different games. That's why we see I feel like that's why we see like teams like Snake and stuff. They just pick like stuff that you would never expect, and
Tychus
it like
or whatever.
like they pick a lot of Tychus, and like there's a reason why they're doing that. Like they understand that like even though this hero doesn't get picked very much, there's reason to pick him here. And it really like either catches teams off guard or it's just actually like really counter play.
I love the idea of Odin on Infernal Shrines. I really do. Like just the AoE splash, the safe range he has. It's just so good. But okay, Tassadar.
Oh, I was hoping to get a task game in before the show.
Archon
today.
sucks.
Archon sucks.
Yeah,
Archon sucks.
But his shield is actually really good now. Like, it absorbs so much damage. I was facing a team that had, I mean, it seemed impossible to kill them. They had Medic, they had Tassadar, and they had Stitches. And this team was unkillable. And Tassadar's shield was a big part of that. It does a lot more shielding, and you know, now lasts 5 seconds.
Last 5 seconds, cooldown is 5 seconds. Shields way more on allied heroes. 25 plus.
I mean,
Actually, wait, is that
It's
like a slight
50%.
nerf?
It's 50% bonus on allies. So
Allied.
it's a nerf on himself, but it's a
yeah.
buff on allies.
So at base, it goes up to 225 plus 45. Okay, I guess it's a slight buff to other heroes and a nerf to himself. But like with the cooldown reduction, that's a pretty big
There's just
deal.
shields for days, and like the idea of throwing leeching plasma, which they now buffed on Illidan, and we've already seen this used effectively in Illidan compositions with like maybe Abathur had on top of it.
They
That
didn't
is
run leeching
scary.
plasma though, did they?
no.
It has been done in the past.
It
Not
has
recently,
been, but
but it
I
has
don't
been
think
done.
They didn't run it at the America's
Big Cog ran it.
Not in the Road to BlizzCon
I've
stuff,
seen games of Tassadar and like he's better like from a support's perspective, and like every game I've seen of him he did go force wall, but I don't know if it's enough to like see him get picked regularly. I definitely think he's gonna have a place now. Like I mean we've already seen like Cognitive like doing weird stuff with him and stuff, so maybe.
I just hope this promotes.
Blinks, have you played him at all? You're the support.
Can I go kind of like on a rant here?
Oh yeah,
Just
of course.
related
That's
to
why.
that?
That's why you're here.
So like I honestly think that like this change, like okay, he's stronger, he's better, but I think these changes kind of suck because like support. I think what makes supports interesting is not how much damage they can reduce or how much healing they can bring, but like what kind of impact they can have on the game. So like. I think Monk is really cool, right? Because if you isolate somebody and you get a 7-sided strike on them, you can take like one person on their team down to 50%. Malf is really cool because his AoE route is a potential 5-man route, right? Uther's pretty cool because he's got a divine shield and that can like completely turn a team fight. But so Blizzard was talking about how like, all right, we're gonna look at Task, we're gonna look at Tyrande and see how we can change them. I want to see them get more like support skills. Like if you take a look at heroes in Dota and I'm sure League of Legends as well, like a lot of supports there have like control skills, right? or they have damage reduction skills, which is kind of like what the medic got, right? Like, there's so much room in the game to expand beyond healing for supports. I mean, medic is fun, Stim Drone is cool, but really all you're doing is you're falling around and you're like pressing Q on somebody.
We'll get the medic.
Being a heal bot.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my rant.
So
I want more diverse supports.
What do they have to do to make Force Wall that compelling thing that you want supports to have? Because you're saying you want some kind of control, some kind of thing, but we never see Force Wall played ever.
All right, off the top of my head, if Force Wall interrupted channeled abilities, then it would be a lot better. If you push someone while they were in Ravenous Spirit or while they were, I don't know, like spinning a Sonya and it interrupted them, Force Wall would be a lot better. There you go.
Okay. Good answer.
Although I guess
if you threw a Force Wall on someone, it crushed their head and they died.
Oh.
That would be...
Insta kill.
It's like, it should have crushed them, man.
8-second cooldown.
Interesting. So what do we got? About 15 minutes left. Do we want to skip the rest of this and jump into medic?
Yeah, just super quick warrior thoughts. Chen
does a shitload of damage. Jake was babying me in a game on Raynor. He had the medic attack speed buff, the drone, and I did 100k damage as Raynor, just like intentionally like being as obnoxious as possible. Kubi was 20k behind me at 80k on Chen.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's like
Chen
quick
hurts.
match stun, pub stomping, and Kubi's not good, but 80k damage. Like, the damage is real from Chen. I don't know if he'll be like super viable, but he like. I did not expect him to go the bruiser route because he definitely does damage.
Yeah, the improved slow that he has early on now, like the increased duration on that, I think that's going to help him a lot with his kick smash.
He's slow. He's got more shielding. He's got more damage. Some of his abilities are a bit faster. There's a lot of like little nice stuff that it's like actually going to make him feel better. But I don't think it will change where he gets picked. But just the impact that he has when he does fall into that spot. That's my expectation for Chen.
Diablo.
Just like why did they even bother with this? Like
still the same place.
Diablo is now the best.
Like I get it. Like it's like all these other warriors. It's like let's make these like actually impactful changes. And like there's some nice stuff here, but like come on, Diablo is like dumpster spot right now. Like
the Lord of the Dumpster.
Big. Give him something big. Like he needs it. It's very clear that he needs something useful.
Do you think if they brought back Unstoppable to his Q, would that make him good, or is that overkill? Or what do you think?
What else? Like, what was the point in which he was super good? It was like when they went like tweaking with his trait a little bit too much.
He was only super good when people didn't know how to play cleanse and everyone was going Diablo Toronto every game. Yeah. That was like his era.
That was that was definitely when he was getting the most.
That was fun.
We actually won a tournament picking Diablo Toronto every single game.
We can run a little over the 2-hour marker tonight if we do.
Actually, wait, was that you guys that was really starting that a lot? I can't remember if it was you guys or...
I don't know.
I don't know if they started. I know we ran it a shitload.
Diablo Toronto?
Laurong and Soldier.
No, it was you guys. It was.
It might have been
that was the original.
We did it in MLG Titan Arena 1 or 2. I forget which one.
That was a long time ago.
2, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you guys took us out of the tournament with that one at Titan Arena 2.
I want to see them move a little bit more towards that bruiser direction for Diablo, and just like give him stuff that does a bit more damage, because like he is fun when he does get in their face, like that Burning Rage style talent he has a level 4 for his Fire Stomp. Like maybe make that a little bit stronger.
It needs a different trait.
Dude, I think the trait is a little weak, and I still think Fire Stomp just feels crappy.
Yeah,
I think it just feels like a crap ability.
I can attest to that.
Shadow Charge,
so much crap,
and Flip, they're good. You feel strong, you feel powerful, and then it's like, little sparkly flames.
Yeah, it's just
little sparkly flames.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
I'm being Diablo.
Just let him do his thing. But yeah, I want to see more damage on Diablo. Let's see, ETC. You got
probably best warrior in the game.
Health buffs, more stun on his power slide. This is all just base. Some mana cost reductions, cooldown for his face melt, which is the AoE knockback, and guitar solo heals him for a bit more. I wouldn't go so far as to say he's going to be the best warrior. With the nerfs to Gianna and Leoric, I think he might be the best. Right, but especially with the Shadow Stock change, where Shadow Stock Mosh Pit is going to be dumb. With Cleanse being removed from the game, dumb. That is going to be stupid. ETC might be the best warrior in the game right now.
He's going to be good.
I think he definitely gets a lot better with this. I don't know if I would jump him that far. It's good stuff, but they're all like kind of like nice tweaks, kind of like what Chen got. So it was like the spots where you would pick ETC before, he's better. I don't know how much this, but maybe you're right with the interaction with the Shadow Stock being picked more. Who knows? There could be something very obscure like that gets used a lot. Johanna, Knight takes Pawn, reduces damage output and stun time. I think we all kind of saw this coming, especially with just like how silly good it is, and it was probably picked 100% of the time in competitive matches. Blessed Shield is what? Is that a 25% reduction on the stuns for it, and they moved that 25% stun time to the upgrade at level 20. Just to kind of, if you really want to go for it. I really don't think that talent will get picked still. I think Indestructible
OP.
Silly good.
Yeah.
All amazing changes.
Johanna is really good. I think she will still get picked a lot. So these
Blinks and Han, feel free to interrupt us and like throw your comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just kind of
we just like plowing through it. If you
Yeah,
want to say
do your
something.
thing. I want to talk about the medic. Hurry up.
Let's see. Yeah, the same renewals, whatever. The Skeletal Swing does 15% less damage.
Joe got like pretty decent nerfs.
I like that. This is a great style. Like what Blizzard has done with this in terms of like, here's like a single thing about this hero that's kind of silly. Let's tweak it down a little bit. These are not over nerfs at all. I think we're still going to see these heroes a lot.
Yep.
Muradin, slight change to Haymaker, not really that big of a deal. Rexar.
Oh, it's big. Have you used it yet?
Used what?
Haymaker.
Oh wait, really? I got bodied by it on the
so much better.
Oh my goodness. Jared,
Muradin top tier now.
Jared, please.
no, I got bodied by
Is it
it.
actually like better? Or?
Yeah, you can feel the difference, but it's still
You can
Haymaker,
feel the
so-
difference.
It's still
Shoot this
Haymaker.
guy all the way across the map.
All right, we can talk a good bit about Rexar, and yeah, so these are the last two heroes before we get into.
So Rexar, you guys, they hit the nail on the head here. I couldn't ask for anything better. The new control you have with Misha, the fact that you can actually pretty much micro Misha just by spam clicking 1 all around the place. You can set Misha up to control a shrine on Sky Temple while you still sit in lane. You can set Misha up to scout around the bushes. You can like check for that kind of stuff. You can do really elaborate ganks where you bait with Rexar. I mean, this won't work as much at the pro level, but in a quick match you can be like, oh, look, I'm here. And then there's a bear behind you, and you're like, oh my god, this sucks. He's so fun. I played a game with Rexar today, and I was just like, this is the hero I wanted. Yeah. And that one change has just made a world of difference.
Yeah, there's still a few issues, but it definitely feels much better. There are already teams running him a lot, but now I feel like, without it's a better change in general. Like, feels good.
And the little tagline at the end with the Spirit Swoop level 7 upgrade for the wave clear. It doesn't like instantly wipe out waves. Just takes them very low. Just in the same respect of Leoric and Johanna. They just took out that.
Before they changed that talent was
actually
so
just instant
overpowered.
wave clear.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yep.
Like you could hit bosses for like 1300 like early on. It was just really crazy.
Yeah. And a fairly short cooldown as well. So
yeah.
All right, Stitches, probably one of the bigger ones, especially because we just do not see this hero anymore.
We already talked about him.
A little bit.
We talked about his level 1 talents.
Level 1 talents. What are the other actual big ones that are super important? I honestly
Helping
think
hand.
Helping
Yeah.
cooldown reduction. Let's see. They reduced the cooldown of Devour. That helps a little bit, especially if we're going to see that paired with, because it's percent-based healing at level 4 for his upgrade. So if he's got that huge health pool, like you may actually see that more instead of amplified healing. Gorge, yeah, they removed the movement speed reduction, duration slightly longer. I think really the big thing is just having a tankier Stitches now in an environment where cleanse is less impactful. We will see a lot more Stitches, and I'm very, very excited. That wraps up the Warriors.
Warriors.
Yep.
Like I said, Bob was already running Stitches, like not all the time, but they win games with Stitches consistently. So hopefully he makes a comeback because, like you said, he's one of the more exciting heroes in the game.
All right, Blinks, the time is yours. Open the gates. Tell us about Lieutenant Morales.
Dun, 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 dun. So I basically spent all of yesterday playing her. I think that she is a lot of fun. Her medevac ult is definitely going to see some play in competitive games, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
There's just so much stuff you can do, especially on big maps like I don't know, Cursed Hollow, Blackheart Spade. There's a lot of play potential with that. But she's very much she's like a positioning princess, all right? Because 90% of the skill in playing medic, I think, is just like positioning and not getting too close to the enemy team, because if the enemy team gets on you,
You're dead.
You're gonna die. There's nothing around it. And guys, if you have a medic in your team and you're like, yeah, I have a medic, I'm Illidan, I'm diving into their team, just remember that if the medic follows you, they're gonna die. Don't make the medic follow you, especially in Hero League, all right? Or it's not out on live servers yet, but like seriously, she's like super fragile. You have to position very well.
Yeah, people like were like, she's gonna be the Illidan healer. She's gonna be like, but yeah, very quickly did people realize that she might be the squishiest character. Like just like besides like Murky and
It's
stuff.
just the fact that she can't heal herself.
Dies so easy.
You know, I played a game this morning, and it was the most frustrating experience of my life playing as medic. I was a lone support. We didn't have any other supports on the team, and I was facing a Globe of Annihilation, Taste for Blood, Asmodee. And those globes late game, I just don't have the response. They would put the pressure on. They'd hit me once or twice, and it was just like I'm gonna die. Like it was fun. It was cool though.
I actually think medic is very weak.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think the hero is gonna be very good, because, well, I mean, if you think about it, every other healer can heal themselves, and like that's really important. Like the only time that she can heal herself is at level 13, I think. She gets like 25% of the healing beam, and it's really not enough, because like if people like start picking medic in like competitive games, you're just gonna see people taking dive comps and just insta killing medic, and it's like a free win, because like there's no reason someone's just gonna let medic do whatever they want.
I don't know if I would say weak is the right term, but she's very niche. She will fit into certain comps perfectly. Like triple warrior frontline, where like they can't get to the medic, last pick medic or whatever, or like protect the X comps. Medic will shine in those, I feel. But you're right. Like you won't be seeing first pick medic. It'll be a last pick thing where there's no reacting to it.
The it's like why pick her over picking Uther. So.
But she's cool. I think Blake hit the nail on the head. She is very fun to play. She's hilariously fun to play. I think she might be my favorite support.
Medevac is hilariously fun to play.
Medevac is hilariously fun to play.
Is great.
The amount of giggles I've had over the last week, like just 24 hours doing stupid things with Medevac is high.
You should go to Complexity Blinks' YouTube channel and watch that dumbass 1% wipe on core they had. Medevacing into the core and then almost losing again like 15%.
But then medevacing into the core again and getting it.
Yeah, they did end up winning the game.
Spoilers!
That's the double medevac strat.
Yeah,
so sick. Low cooldown, 50 seconds, and that's the cooldown starts the moment you summon the medevac, and once you start, people can start climbing the ship. The cooldown's already ticking.
I think medevac will be the go-to heroic. I think the cooldown on the scouting drone is too long for it to be skim drone is too long for it to be outside of like a Rainer comp or like something where you're just like being silly with it. I think
it's 90 seconds for a single target bloodlust essentially. Like it's the same cooldown as bloodlust, but it's a 10-second bloodlust on one hero. So
50-second cooldown on medevac, like I can just see like I said, we're not gonna be seeing a lot, but like I could see situations like on Dragonshire where like medevac just like takes both shrines. I've seen like plenty of VODs, like I watched Blink stream yesterday, watched Dreadnought stream today, like where you invade jungle camps like as a 5-stack. It's like, so let's fly to these knights, they have to be doing it, and suddenly you're fighting them as 5. There's cool plays like that can be made with it as well. It's a really fun heroic. People are being really cheesy with it right now, but I think that when we see it used properly and competitive, it's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, it'll be so cool.
Yeah, the stim drone has like a channel time on it, which like really
1 second, a full second, and I think anything interrupts it pretty much.
Yeah, it's like
oh wow.
Yeah, so it's
I didn't
just
know about
like
the interruption part. That's pretty bad.
Yeah,
well, it can also be leashed. Like if you're playing with an Illidan that's like, I'm gonna go get him, and then he like runs out of range of the stim drone, then you just can't use it. Doesn't work.
I mean, when it gets off, it's really, really scary. But it's really kind of hard to pull off properly.
Yeah, it's really cool though. She's fun. And that's like, and she's diverse, right? She's just not the exact same Malf, Ufer, Rhaegar type style healer where they're like all about that CC, you know, with like, you know, the big play making ults, you know, like that. But she's got a place. It's not like an every place type of healer, but I don't know. These are like the heroes that I like seeing added. We've already got like the core roster. We have basically everything we need, and now they're starting to fill in these niche little holes that, like, if someone wanted to do something, now they can. So, you know, some people are upset that, like, she's not the, you know, the next Uther, but I like heroes like this. I think it's healthy for the game long term.
I agree.
I think her W like brings the safeguard. It brings like that's something that we needed in the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and there's not many skills like that.
Yeah.
I just linked Blinks' preview for Medic on his YouTube channel. I know you've been trying to put more content out. I see a lot
thanks,
more of it on
Booby.
Reddit. No problem. We're always trying to promote you guys. So I thought that was a very well put together video, and you highlighted all the talents, which we'll definitely not have time to do tonight. So check that video out, guys. And although you didn't have any time to play the hero because it was before the PTR was out, I thought it was a pretty expansive coverage of the hero.
Yeah. Really good job. Yeah, I know. I'm hyped about Medic. Like, I just want to see her played. I think she's really fun.
She'll have like a different kind of impact than a lot of the other supports. It's just something. She's different, and she feels aesthetically like a Brood War medic.
Yeah.
She walks around channeling her beam. That's her life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I could make like a suggestion to Blizzard, like I really want to highlight what Han said about her W. That is an ability that can make plays. Like,
It can,
hands
yeah.
down. Like, it's almost like old school cleanse tier. Like, it can change the game, but it's hard to see. And it's like, I think it, like, just doing anything with it that makes it, like, flashier, or I don't know what you can do.
It's very like aesthetically hard to see.
Yeah. So, like, as, like, just speaking from a caster's perspective, like, when Blinks lands that sick, nasty, you know, W, I don't know the name of it yet.
Safeguard.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the difference between life and death, like on Hans. Like, that is a play that has to be highlighted.
Yeah.
And you
Hold
can't.
on, but from a player's point of view, though, like if it,
True.
like, from a support's point of view, if it's highlighted, then all the enemy team is like, oh, there's like
Don't hit that person.
Don't hit
That's
that
true.
dude.
That is true. It's a good point. It's
a two-way street.
a difficult thing to balance.
And at
Maybe this is the
16,
time
like-
that Blizzard like goes down the route of like maybe you can see things differently from an observer's perspective.
Oh.
You know, things like that where it's easier from a spectator, but in game, you know, it's still challenging. I don't know, but it's definitely like when I first noticed it, it's like it's kind of one of the first things like that. You know, when we talk about like the option of a disciplined priest, you know, we get really hyped over pain suppression, you know, damage reduction percentage or whatever, and this is like basically that.
Very similar.
And you can make plays with it, and I want to highlight that as well as I can.
So Blizzard, I got the suggestion for you. Basically, you're gonna hire a voice actor to say all kinds of crazy things, and you're gonna have big numbers pop up on the screen on the amount of damage that is mitigated, and it's gonna go mega mitigation, and it's gonna be awesome.
Good lord.
It's gonna
Okay,
show
Blizzard,
like
don't do that, please. All right? Can we do something a little like middle groundy? You know,
It already says how much damage mitigates when you use it. Did you guys notice that?
yeah,
when you
but
safeguard-
it needs to be like the size of the screen, the numbers, and like the voice needs to
font's
announce
It's
it.
kind of small, but like when you safeguard someone and after it ends, it's like mitigated or safeguarded like this amount of damage or something like that. It actually says it over the person.
damn. Is
Yeah,
that only
it's-
from the medic's perspective that you see that? Because I haven't noticed.
I'm
It does.
not sure. It might be. Because I remember I was when I took the 16 talent where you can like double safeguard. You can like it just like pops up for you. So maybe
On
it's
the
just
side,
like,
on the
like-
left side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna have to. That's definitely things that we need.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Any information is good information, and that's definitely
Absolutely.
that's awesome. Good work, Blizzard.
Good job.
Yeah, this patch is awesome. This is, I think, could be said, this is probably his favorite patch
Yeah.
ever. I might agree. I mean, maybe the removal of artifacts I liked more. But beyond that, like,
That's fair.
this is just the diversity we're going to see in Warriors. The changes they made to Tyrande Tassadar, I think it's going to make. That's just good for. I don't think that'll affect competitive too much. Maybe Tyrande will. Tacitor's kind of falling out of favor as like that assassin role for most teams. He's like a safe pick, I guess. But for quick match, I think it's going to make a lot of people happy, right? You got to think about the masses. This is also, it's not just an esport, as much as we like to view it that way. When it comes to getting that lone Tacitor on your team, guess what? Tacitor is now going to be a little bit more useful in that support role. Same deal for Tyrande.
Can you guys refresh my memory? What was the patch before this? What was like the big theme?
Diversity in team comps. But, I mean, it's not like the theme.
No, I mean like the actual balancing like that they did for like
that
the
was the
last
KT chain bomb change.
Chain bomb, yeah.
I don't remember anything else that was super game changing.
They changed
Jaina
the
nerfs,
startup
I think,
damage
was that
on
patch?
They changed Jaina.
Water
They
Ellie.
couldn't chill off Water Ellie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like that patch for me was like really sick because it look how many different team comps like came out.
Yeah,
like, started
that's-
picking way more diverse stuff.
That's the point that I'm trying to drive to. Is that it feels like Blizzard is getting a lot better at balancing.
Yeah,
the game.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like these like last 3 patches have like really felt like I haven't been like upset with a balanced patch in a while. It feels like, and so far like these have just been like wow, they're like hitting all the nails on the head. Like this is what we want out of these heroes, especially for a competitive aspect, and it seems to fit pretty well into quick match or just even not playing in like a casual setting too. So kudos to Blizzard for that. And if we start to see more and more of this, like I'm very, very confident in this game's future.
Oh, the game's. I haven't been happier, honestly. The last few months of this game, every aspect of just the events, the game design itself. Blinks and Hans, you guys feel the same way?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, it's a young game, but it's definitely growing. And you look at the kind of numbers that we put up at Vegas on Twitch,
Yeah.
like, how can you not be excited for the future of this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think that means Reddit questions.
Yeah, I looked through them. We covered.
I got one I want to ask.
hit a bunch. Yeah, you can go ahead.
This is like mainly for the pros, but do you think double support ever going to be a thing in based off the current meta and changes? Do you think that will ever have a? I'm not talking about like pseudo supports with a support like Tyrande.
I'm talking about like Uther Mouth.
Uther Medic, Uther Mouth, Uther Rhaegar, stuff like that. We did see it rise like a while back when people were kind of running on Sky Temple, but
That was like when Sky Temple was brand new.
yeah,
That's how
Yeah.
old that was.
Yeah.
I think, well, something that I've been thinking about is like if you take Malf Medic, like how can anybody on your team die, right? Because if they have like an AoE comp, then you have Malfurion plus like Medic spot heals, and if they have a single target blow up comp, then you have Safeguard plus Medic plus Malf or whatever. So from the point of view of like, will it ever be viable? I don't know because I don't know how you'd round out that comp, but I think that maybe Medic will open that up. It's definitely something that I think a lot of teams will try, but I don't know.
I think it's
Doubtful.
worth trying, but I don't think it's going to be very successful.
I like what you said
worked-
about. Go ahead, Han. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It worked in the past because like people like picked like really like burst, like they were like trying to blow people up, and like double support like really kind of countered that, and so that's why that was like a thing. But I think now it's less like people insta killing each other and like more sustained fights are happening. So.
I really like what Blink said about like Medic X. I think like her big weakness is her squishiness. So you like put a Divine Shield with her, someone else that can keep her topped off. That might be where we can see it right now.
Yeah.
But I agree completely with Hans. Like, right, probably not. This like damage is too strong. Even with 2 healers, you can out damage it like with just sustain.
Cool.
Fair enough.
That was the only Reddit question I liked.
There's some other decent ones in there, but would probably require a lot more time to really
We
dive
are
into them.
pretty
so.
low on time.
Yeah, so I would say we just move on.
I mean that. Unless you have a Kubi's question.
I mean, yeah. I mean, unless there's anything else anyone wants to talk about in the show tonight, we will transition to shout out. So, last call if you would like to say something that is pertaining to game balance, meta, whatever. Final shot.
Keep doing your thing, Blizzard.
Ooh.
Keep doing your thing.
I would like. It's been a while since we've talked about this subject. I would like, at least for Hero League, a rotating map pool. I don't think every map should be in it at this point.
I think that's in like talks.
I hope it is.
It's been like hinted at.
It's
BlizzCon
too large.
Yeah, like
It's
they
too
hinted
large.
at it like a few times. Yeah.
Like I think there should be a restricted map pool for BlizzCon.
I got like in Vegas, I got like grilled on that subject by
That's
some
good.
developers. Like,
That's good.
What do you think? Why do you think that? You really think that, huh? So,
Huh, buddy? Huh?
You want to say that again?
tell me more, right? So I think it's coming. Like, obviously they couldn't like confirm or deny, but the way that they were like talking to me and like some other players, it sounds like
The fact that the developers are so anxious to pick the brain of the players
that was
is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we like people are asking about like bans and stuff. We talk about bans every freaking episode. We want bans in here like clearly, but that's not something we brought up for a while. Unless we want to like slightly touch on Artanis. I played him once as Abathur. I know Jake, you played a full game as him. He seems fun.
Yeah, there's some wonky bug. If you pre-order Links to the Void and you play random, there's a chance that you'll get Artanis. The hero is stupid fun. We'll talk about him in full when he's actually in the game because obviously this is a version of him where he is not intended to be played. So we'll do a full discussion when he is actually available for play. But I am excited to say the least.
Yeah, he's fun. He's not a traditional warrior too. He seems more like a bruiser. So, yay!
All right, Jared. Shoutouts.
Shout out to Tempestorm and all our sponsors, Twitch, Funk, Namecheap, and G2A. They make everything possible, especially this amazing house that we live in. We're going into boot camp mode. Everyone gets back from vacation tomorrow. So expect the streams, and we're going to be practicing hard. We're practicing against the best teams in North America. Everyone's reached out like, hey, we want you guys to beat Korea, and Cloud9 and us were like on the same page, Doesn't matter which one of us wins our match, and we inevitably hit each other as long as one of us takes down Korea. We're pushing really hard for that.
Jared, does that mean that you guys are going to be reducing just general stream content while you guys are
Probably.
practicing? Okay, I would be
we will
for that.
still
I know
stream.
that there's a lot of people that enjoy those particular streams, but I would rather see you guys just shut the doors, just practice. Yeah. But
just shut the doors.
Shut the doors.
It won't be as much.
Okay.
Tempestorm, I'll be making a Reddit post tomorrow. I've announced it on Twitter and here as well. We are hiring content creators, whether you're a professional player, you're a YouTuber, you want to write articles.
$40.
We pay $30 a guide.
Oh, they went down since last week.
Yeah, it went down. Thanks for calling that out, Jake.
Wow.
It went down.
Wow.
Because there's been such an amazing amount of people. But we're still, we really want YouTube.
Oh boy.
We want YouTube content creators a lot, but we also still want article and guide writer. We only have one pro outside of the team writing guides, which is Faye from Murloc Geniuses. But if you're wanting to write content, I'm gonna make a Reddit post tomorrow. But you can email me at zoe@tempestorm.com. Also, the tournament hasn't been fully announced yet, but I got the okay to go ahead and announce that I will be casting Heroes of the Stormland. It's going to be at the Esports Arena in Southern California. They've been doing Hearthstone events there. I don't know what other games they've done. I've only seen their Hearthstone tournaments, but I will be casting that along with the awesome Gillyweed. We will both be casting there. I know there's going to be a lot of the top teams in NA there. So that's going to be the middle of October format, and the exact teams and stuff will be announced soon. But I got allowed to announce that we're casting it, so that's going to be really, really hype. So make sure you guys tune into that. And HTC League starts this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be covering that.
Kubi's going to go ahead and cover that.
the
We'll be
info.
playing in that, so cheer us on, Tempestorm Whiting. And that's it for me, guys.
Kubi.
All right, yeah, thanks once again to everybody that I met at the America's Championship. If you guys didn't catch all the highlights that we did for it last week, but it was super awesome meeting everyone, especially you guys on Complexity. It was just a good time all around, and thanks for the support from everybody. Yeah, like Jared was saying, I do want to go ahead and plug the HTC League that is going to be popping up. I'm trying to think who is it. It's Jinx. Let's see, HTC, Jinx, of course, Heroes Hype, and Cloud9 are all banding together to make this happen. 8 teams that are going to be invited are Tempestorm, Cloud9, Complexity, Cognitive, Murloc Geniuses, Kappa Wolves, Panda Global, and Team Blaze. There's a $6,200 prize pool. The dates are the 3rd of October, 10th, 13th, and 24th. Let's see, and the casters for the event will be Gillyweed, myself, and Sham2. So more information over at heroeshype.com. I think they're going to have the announcement up tomorrow for that. That's it for me.
Cool to see Jinx getting involved in Heroes. That's
Yes.
that's their first step into the scene, I think. That's very cool. I believe they actually have some hero shirts. I saw Julian, former Cloud9 manager, now works at Jinx, so he's actually one of us. So shout out to Julian. Hans, take it away.
Okay. I'd like to shout out Complexity, all of our sponsors, G2A, Sound Blaster, everyone else that I didn't mention.
Got him.
Blink's face.
I got you back.
Those are like the main two that I remember. So it's not usually something I get to do. But
hey, make a post-it note, put it in your monitor for future references.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it was really great meeting everybody in Vegas. It was like a really good experience. So like shout out to everybody that we got to meet in Vegas. Like all the other teams were really, really cool. Like we got to like being able to interact with those teams was like a really great experience. And just like being like at such a great event that Blizzard hosted, like I wasn't expecting it to be like all that it was, and like it was really, really awesome. So,
all right, awesome. Blinks.
Well, first of all, like I also want to say like big shout out to everybody I met at Vegas. Obviously, you guys included, and thanks for having us on the show, right? But like. People in the crowd, people backstage, especially the people, I don't know if like Blizzard people watch this show, I'm sure some do, but especially the people that help like with the stage management and like making sure that we needed to be where we need to be. Thank you so much, because we're just like a bunch of gamers that have no idea what's going on. And thanks to like people that actually like our team and cheer for us. It's still so cool that like we have fans. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that. And finally, big shout out to DraftKings, which is our latest sponsor. We have like 1-day fantasy league with them, and you can win a chance to meet the Complexity Dota 2 team in Florida, which is totally sweet. Big shout out to Sound Blaster, G2A, Newegg, Creative Sound Blaster, Twitch, Power Color, and XPG.
Well done. Well done. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to meet you guys in Vegas, like everyone already said. For myself, tomorrow I will be flying to Europe for the first time in my life, and I am ecstatic for this opportunity. So a big thank you and shout out to everyone for just supporting all these opportunities we've had. Vegas was a dream come true. Now I'm going to Prague, so it's going to be fun. Got my passport ready. That's why Town Hall was here this Wednesday, or Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Next week, Town Hall will return on Wednesday, and we'll be hoping to bring on members from the winning team of the EU event. We're definitely going to be shooting for EU guests for that show, recapping it fully. And I think it's pretty much speculated that next Tuesday is when Medic will go live based on the patterns we've had in the past. So we'll be doing an update on to like, hey, what changed from the PTR to now and all that good stuff. Hey, take a train, Jake. Yeah, I get the joke. That's oh my God, that is
On class, boys.
That is beautiful.
T-shirts.
Town Hall T-shirts. Thank you all so much for the support on the campaign. We ended up selling 86 shirts.
Oh shit!
So
Doubling our goal, which is
more than doubling.
Yeah,
freaking awesome.
huge. Thank you to everybody.
So I'm just gonna say I typed this totally wrong. I cannot type Teespring, guys.
Why do you need to link it? It's done.
I want to show it. I want to show it. I'm proud of it, Jared.
Oh, okay.
86 out of 40 shirts were sold, and we're gonna do something at BlizzCon, right? We got to figure it all out still. But if you did buy a shirt and you are attending BlizzCon, do make sure you bring it to BlizzCon, because we want to do a big photo at the bare minimum with everyone there with those shirts. And I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Make sure you guys keep your eyes on the scene this weekend. The Korean finals will be on OGN Global, cast by Tastosis. We've got the Taiwan finals, which probably won't be able to watch. And then we've got the EU regionals, which is going to be 8 teams, a lot of talent, and it's going to be WoW, Hearthstone, and Heroes of the Storm. Till next week. It's been wonderful, my friends. We'll see you then.
See you guys.
See you.
What a dumb outro. God, Jake.
dead.